Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
How you doing, Grumpy?
Good.
Saturday evening. Hey, this time, I guess 2 weeks from now, I think is the first Islanders game or Islanders action of the season, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. The 14th, right?
Yeah,
Against the
14th.
Buffalo Sabres.
Or maybe that's Sunday. Who knows? Sunday, maybe. Yes.
All I know is Buffalo can still score, but you know what they can't do? Defend.
Why
I
do you
just
say that?
I watched the yeah, of course it's only preseason. I got it. But you would think that Buffalo in the preseason, okay, let's work on being more buttoned up defensively. Let's work on our goaltending. Did we need to add somebody in the offseason? They did. And I just watched the game. It's like, man, just sloppy defense. It's preseason. Not all your starters are playing, unless you're the Islanders like tonight. But most cases, so early in the preseason, you're seeing a lot of new faces, seeing who can do what. But for me, I just like what I like to watch is how the teams play, if they're stylistically what they do and stuff like that. And for Buffalo, yeah, they can still score, but they still look sloppy as hell on the back end.
Yeah, and again, preseason. We'll just say that a million times. Preseason hockey. Don't read all too much into it. It still is preseason. But before we begin our show today, before we start jumping in, just a few housekeeping items. If you're new to this channel, welcome. This is a twice a week All Islanders podcast where we talk anything and everything New York Islanders. We go live every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the show and you enjoy the content, do a few things for me. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and like the video because apparently that helps the algorithm. And, when you subscribe on YouTube, you don't miss out on any of the future content we put out also. So we also have a Facebook and a Twitter page. You could follow us there. You could follow on Twitter. You could like on Facebook, all the good things. And also one more housekeeping item. If you like the comments, you like the banter, you like just screwing around, having a good time that Grumpy and I do, also know there is a podcast called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It is a all sports podcast that takes place every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. We just talk anything and everything sports on that show. We talk NHL, we talk NBA, we talk MLB, we talk NFL, we talk college athletics, literally anything and everything sports on that show. It's myself, the grumpy old man, and the magnificent Son X, just shooting the shit and talking sports. Make sure you give that a check out. Again, you can find that in the link in the description below, or if you even just search TJ and the Grumpy Old Man on YouTube, you'll find it that way too.
That's true. We're talking a lot of NFL. I'm just thinking about tonight's show, honestly. And Butch is hard to listen to already. And he made a big comment. I mean, he kind of got on his soapbox about guys, and he's right. He's not wrong. Like Anders Lee laid a big hit on some little Ranger guy. And he got jumped. And it was a clean hit. I mean, it's just a body check, open eyes body check. Nothing wrong with it. Captain Average did nothing wrong. But of course, in today's NHL, somebody's going to jump in and start a fight with Anders Lee, right?
Sure.
That's just the way it is nowadays. So Butch gets on his freaking soapbox and I think Trouba was the guy who jumped in to defend whoever the Ranger guy, one of their backups, to defend him. And Butch goes on the soapbox. Well, you know what? If they find that it should be a game misconduct for the guy who jumps in to fight, and he goes on this big, long thing attacking, the Ranger guy for jumping. It's just wrong. So, here's what Butch forgot. This is a broadcast done by the Rangers. So, with about 5 minutes left to go in the period, 10 minutes later, they bring up how Jacob Trouba laid a body check on Michael Del Cole a couple of years ago, and J.G. Pajot jumped him from behind because he laid an open ice body check. And, Butch tried to hem and haw around it. Well, he's going after a bigger guy and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, here's what happened, right? The guys in the booth said, Butch, shut the hell up. If you want to run your mouth about the Rangers, no problem. It's a Ranger broadcast. We're going to dig some shit up where a Ranger did, when the Islander did the same thing. And honestly, I was thinking, not that particular incident, but that's what I was thinking when I saw the body check and I saw the guy attack him. Everyone does that around the league, the Islanders included, and Butch is like a freaking church mouse when the Islander guy does it. Now, if you want to call somebody, if you want to call them out, great, call them all out. You can't just call out the opposition team when your team does the same thing. And the MSG guy said, oh, yeah, Butch? Oh, yeah. No, we're going to give you a special wonton soup for you. Yeah, like Eddie Murphy's joke. And they whip that up and show it. And, Butch couldn't do anything on that. I felt bad for Butch in there.
Oh, come on. I don't feel bad for him. He's already I had to mute the telecast. It's game 3 of the preseason. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I love Butchie, but I'm like, man, it just gets tougher and tougher. Every single year it gets worse and worse. It's just like I love Butch Gordon. Absolutely love him. But we started off like Bo Horvat scored a goal in preseason, right? Woohoo, he's already off to a good start. It's preseason. We'll say preseason again. But, I get it. They've got to try to find reasons. His job is to try to excite the fan base. I understand that. I'm not negligent to that. I understand he wants to excite the fan base. But he's over there saying, wow, we see this right here. And I think Islander fans in the league is going to be, we're going to be really excited if we get a taste of what we just saw right there. We're going to be really impressed all year with Bo Horvat and Matt Barzal. This is what we were looking for at the end. Because obviously the talking point is that line struggled a lot. Bo Horvat struggled a lot with the trade after he was traded. When Matt Barzal was quote-unquote healthy, which I don't think he was in the postseason, right? They still struggled to score goals and to put up points. Bo Horvat gets fed the puck. He does a little wraparound. Jonathan Quick is caught out of position. They score a goal. Wow, this is great. I'm like, okay, we're in preseason hockey. The Islanders, the roster they put out tonight, looks to be eerily similar to what we're going to have for opening night. So, we'll talk about some of the positives of that, some of the negatives with that. But you're right. Butchie's he's a homer. I understand he's got to be a homer, but man, I just wish he wouldn't go so over the top. I got to learn to live with it. That's how all announcers are. But I'm like, I do enjoy when Thomas Hickey and him are kind of shitting on each other. That was fun. That was fun when he was kind of, he's like, oh, Thomas Hickey, you didn't have a hard slap shot or anything like that. Hickey's like, oh, yeah, no, I never did, all that. So, it was kind of fun to see the back and forth there. But, yeah, Butchie still being Butchie, Grumpy.
I just thought that particular exchange with the body check, and he went on for quite a while.
And yeah, here's the thing too. You have to fight somebody if a player of yours gets hit hard in open ice. That's just the way the game is played now. It's just played that way.
I disagree. If it's a clean hit, you should not be fighting. And Miscellaneous agreed with them as well. And Butch took it off the freaking deep end. He did the triple Lindy off the diving board, and it didn't. I'm just like, oh, Butch. I wondered to myself. I said, are they going to do it? And they did. The MSG telecast made sure they dug up some shit that included Trouble. I mean, how many clean body checks does Trouble? I don't know.
What would have been better?
It was a clean open ice body check, and how JG Pajot jumped him, and Butch was left with egg on his face.
What would have been better if they could have pulled the audio clip from the Islanders telecast when that happened to see if Butch was like, yeah, you can't go ahead and take an open hit at a guy like this, like Michael Del Cole. He needed to go ahead and fight him up. This is what's going to get, because here's the thing. But you speak enough on in our broadcast, you're going to contradict yourself, because just surely how many times you speak, the likelihood is you're going to contradict yourself at one point. But yeah, it was. I did think it was kind of funny that he was kind of going above and beyond. I'm like, we're at a preseason game. We had no problem with the fighting on whatever day it was when we first played the Rangers, when we had less starters in the lineup compared to them, and they waxed the floor with us. And tonight was just the opposite. But I did think that was kind of that was kind of funny too, Grump, that he was going on such a monologue on a soapbox talking about, oh, You start.
caught me monologuing. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I did notice the same thing. It was tough. Some parts I enjoy when he speaks, other parts I'm like, man, I just got to mute the TV. So anyway, tonight there's an Islander game going on, an Islanders preseason game going on against the New York Rangers. For those who are not watching, you can find it on ESPN Plus. So that's where you can find that game, where you can watch the Islanders, who are up currently 4-0 on the Rangers, laying the smackdown to the New York Rangers,
taking the woodshed.
Taking them to the woodshed.
I bet we don't see Joseph C in the comments today.
No. Now here's the thing. When
maybe he'll be in the comments. I don't know, but right now I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh, look at you, Grumpy. Look at you over here,
Grumpy. Maybe he is. I'll circle through because he listens to the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show, and he said how much he enjoyed seeing the Rangers stomp all over the Islanders. I'm just wondering if he's there today. I don't know.
I'm sure he's there today, Grumpy.
So far, I don't see any comments with his name on it.
Just
interesting. I'm just saying it's a little interesting. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, Grump, I will say this, bringing it back to the point, right? We didn't take too much credence when the Islanders got beat by the Rangers. It was noticeable that, hey, the level of speed was a little different. When they beat us, it's not a big deal. It's preseason. I'm more concerned not with the result, but how individuals show and how they play. And that's the same thing with tonight's game. I know we're at the second intermission, so, but I'm not too concerned about the result, right? We're up 4-0. I'm more concerned with individual play and how they look on the ice. Do we look like, hey, we've got some jump in our step? I described last podcast, the preseason is almost like you're stretching before you're running a marathon. Some people are great stretchers. They look really flexible, really limber. They look great out there. You say, wow, that guy's probably going to be really athletic. He's going to do great. Here's the thing. Doesn't matter how you stretch. It matters that when you stretch, you're able to damn run that marathon. And that's what we're concerned with. So tonight, the Islanders put out a roster that looked eerily similar to what I think we're going to see in our opening night lineup. Now, I'll point out some of the things I like about the lineup potentially opening night and some of the things that I think could cause room for concern for the opening night lineup. Because remember, Bridgeport reported just recently. So all the guys who were there and are going to be in the Bridgeport lineup, they are guys who were probably sent down there more recently. So tonight, our lineup consisted again of a first line of Simon Holmstrom, Bo Horvat, and Matt Barzal. Now, in all of the preseason games that they're playing, with Horvat and Barzal, it's always Simon Holmstrom that's on the left wing.
Ugh.
We had a second line of Pierre Engvall, Brock Nelson, and Hudson Fasching. Now, Kyle Palmieri is still out, not able to practice with the team. He's still doing his skating drills and items like that separated from the team. So as of right now, I could maybe make an assumption that because you're not practicing with the team, maybe you might not be ready in a week and a half or 2 weeks, when the first game starts on October 14th. Maybe you get healthy and you're ready to go. But as of right now, he's not healthy and able to go, which is why he's not playing any of these preseason games. So you had a second line of Engvall, Nelson, and Hudson Fasching. A third line, which has been the third line every single time they rolled out there, has been Anders Lee, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, and Julien Gauthier. So, that looks to be maybe the third line. They're continuing to roll that out there. And a fourth line, this is just a hodgepodge mess at the moment.
Not
Ross
really.
Johnson, Kyle McLean, and Kyle Clutterbuck.
I don't think it's a hodgepodge mess at all. We haven't seen anything from Matt Martin this preseason.
You think Matt Martin's going to start the opening night, right?
Maybe he's hurt.
He played. He's played. You're wrong. He played last Wednesday, Grump.
I haven't seen him play.
Yes, he's played. Matt Martin has played preseason games.
I
can pull it up, Grumpy. Matt Martin has played preseason games, but Casey Cizikas is healthy too, right? I would say I'd go out like when you look at the top three lines, I could say with a strong degree of confidence, those might be the top three lines to start first night, opening night. Maybe Kyle Palmieri is a little banged up, and there's a notable name missing on that top three. But that fourth line, Matt Martin has been playing. He played on opposite nights, but he has played. So has Casey Cizikas. I'd say the fourth line, right, is probably not the fourth line we'll start out of camp with.
They're interchangeable, though, aren't they, really?
I would say there's not a huge difference that delineates them. So, it's They're
That
they're
those
they're
are
fourth liners of fourth liners or fourth liners.
right.
I was about to say I'm not going to get caught in the weeds on that, but I'll go and look at because we're going to talk about some things we don't like about the lineup, some things that we like about the lineup. Things I like about tonight's lineup. We'll start off with that in a positive positive tone. I like that we are continuing to dedicate time for Adam Pelech and Noah Dobson
Absolutely.
and Alexander Romanov and Ryan Pulock. Two of your more veteran defensemen who have a lot of experience that are more positionally aware and sound are paired up with two of the younger defensemen that, again, Romanoff all over the place on the ice, and Dobson more offensive-minded paired with a more defensive-minded partner.
And for me, yes, I know it's preseason, but if it proves my point, well, what the heck, I'm running with it anyway. Look at how much better defensively Dobson is in this game and with Pelech. Why? Because they're divergent guys. Pelech's more defensive, Dobson's more offensive. It's what we've been calling for the last year, right? We've been calling for that. Hopefully, that's the way it sticks. I always thought Romanov was better, and he learned more playing with Pulock, veteran with the young guy. Mayfield and Bolduc, that makes sense to me as your bottom pairing. Of course, paying a bottom pairing guy $3.5 million for 7 years is still asinine. But since that's the case, I like Bolduc better than Aho as a starter. Varlamov's the backup, no loss there. I think this is very, very close to what we're going to see opening night. Disappointing is the first line, though.
Well,
That's
okay,
the one disappointing.
yes. We'll talk about that in a second. But I do want to say our defensive pairings, I would assume, are identical to what they're going to be starting night. You're going to have Pelech paired with Dobson. We're going to have Romanov paired with Pulock, which is good. That's good for the team. That's good. That's what we need. I think that's for the betterment of line combinations, defensive pairings. I'm happy about that. And you, I think, are going to see Samuel Bolduc and Scott Mayfield breaking camp. Those are going to be your bottom pairing defensemen. What a shock. Remember what he's saying? Whoa, Dobson's not a top pair defenseman. He's not a top four defenseman. Dobson was playing bottom line minutes. Yeah, okay. Now do you change the discussion? He always was a top four guy, and now he's still going to be paired with the top pairing defenseman there and Adam Pelech. And it looks like probably Bolduc and Mayfield are going to be in your situation. They're going to be the bottom guys playing bottom minutes. Varlamov in net, no issue with that. He's our backup, not our starter. But this is pretty close to what the lineup will be opening night, don't you say? Don't you think, Grump?
I agree. And also what I like is you're seeing how they've kind of shut the Rangers down tonight, in my opinion. Yeah, the Rangers aren't playing their starters. I got it. But defensively, we've looked much, much better today. And I think it's just because of the pairings. And it could be we got our starting defensive core in there, and they got some ham and eggers on offense. The Rangers.
Let's not jump to talk too much about the Rangers just quite yet. Let's talk a little bit more about the Islanders and their roster, and then we'll compare it to what was on the ice. No?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter that they got ham and eggers out there, the Rangers. I think that the fact that you've seen Dobson's much better with Pelech. Pulock and Romanov, you're seeing Romanov, if you watch him at all, Romanov all of a sudden thinks, hey, I can rush the puck up because I got Pulock coming back. I still think that's a mistake. But that being said, I like it. Now, here's the thing. On penalty kill, you're still going to see Pelech and Mayfield out there as a top D men. On the penalty kill, you've seen it tonight. And I think that Lane Lambert is using tonight almost like a dress rehearsal. I know they got 3 more games to go in the preseason, but it's almost like they're showing the fans. Maybe they came out and said, hey, let's show the fans, something tonight. Maybe that's the case.
I don't think necessarily it's that. I think they just want to get some. We're changing a few things up from last year, at least regarding lineups. So I think they want to get as much experience, probably game experience as possible. So when you're starting off on the regular season 2 weeks from now, it's not like we're learning on the fly. They want to, I think, ideally have these things ironed out or as close to ironed out before the regular season. So I'm not going to say they're looking to send an audition to the guys. I do want to talk a little bit about, right? This looks to be what the starting lineup will be, right? Kyle Palmieri, if he's healthy, will play for Hudson Fasching.
Shouldn't he have to earn a spot when he comes back? Because Hudson Fasching looked damn good on that line. I think he should have to fight for his spot. He can automatically get his spot back.
Well, that's how they treat it with some people, but not other players. Because what I'm going to mention here, you'll notice, right? Our first line there, Simon Holmstrom, Bo Horvat, and Matt Barzal. Our second line of Engvall, Nelson, and Fashing. Third line of Lee, Pajot, Gauthier. Fourth
Who's
line
that?
of Johnston, McLean, and Clutterbuck. What name are we missing off of this list, grumpy old man, who may have been drafted? I think that 2018, 2019 draft was an early selection.
Right.
The
It's
pick
Walstrom.
right before Noah Dobson. Who are we missing off of that list, Grump?
Right. It's Walstrom. I am disappointed that he's not been given a legit shot on the first line with Horvat and Barzal.
But guys, he played one period or half of one period in one game on the first line. And other than that, he was playing with Ham and Eggers left and right, AHL guys. But he's played one period with Bo Horvat and Matt Barzal. And tonight he's not even suiting up.
Holmstrom does not deserve to be on that first line. Matt Barzal is playing great. Bo Horvat's playing great. Holmstrom is a passenger. He is Josh Bailey 2.0. I was wondering if I was going to find myself a whipping boy soon. It didn't take more than an exit. Well, here's the thing. I knew this kid was Josh Bailey 2.0 on draft night, and that's what he is. Somehow he's on the first line just to spread the suck around. Now, I just want to add a couple things. I think that Gauthier has played fine on that third line.
Sure.
He skates up and down his wing. I like that line, honestly. I really do. And Fashing, you can play him anywhere in the lineup. I'd rather have Fashing on the first line than Simon Holmstrom.
What I was about to comment in, though, is the unfortunate part. We have a lot of guys who I think are good bottom six players. There's only, though, 6 spots available in your bottom 6. We don't have 9 spots available for bottom 6 guys. So that's the unfortunate part, as to how it bleeds into the top 6 for us. Now, I will say this, right? When Kyle Palmieri is back and healthy, do we think he's just going to be automatically gifted a role in a spot?
Yep.
I'd say probably, right? I'd say that's a guy who's going to be handed the second line spot, even though, wow, Engvall, Nelson, and Fashing have looked pretty good. Wow, it almost looks just like we had Kyle Palmieri out there on the ice, because what a shock. It's guys who feed off of their playing style, 3 guys who have active motors, 3 guys who are, I'd say, skating wise, I think Brock Nelson's probably the slowest of the bunch, but they're all guys who put forth effort. And you're able to see with what it results on the ice. Do we think Kyle Palmieri, when he comes back, is given a spot? Absolutely. But Oliver Walstrom, the way it looks like, is the odd man out at the moment.
I'm not surprised. I never felt he was. I don't think they like him that much. I don't.
Yep. I said I thought going into the season he was going to be bust. He was going to bust officially because they weren't going to give him the chance needed to succeed. And I think that is exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen in this scenario. He, out of camp, is going to be a healthy scratch. He's not going to play. And you know what this does? Is it is going to 110% kill any sort of trade value he had. Because guess what? If he's not playing for the team this year at the trade deadline, when we're trading pieces away to double down on the team, he is going to be a guy that's traded. So we're going to destroy his value by not playing him and then trade him away at his lowest point. It's something the Islanders and our general manager and head coach have they've got a real knack and propensity to do. Destroy any value in a young player, then trade him at their lowest point, just like they did with Beauvillier.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the same thing did it with Hosang. Everybody, if you're not in their plans, they want to bury you, which I just think is stupid. You want to sell the guy at their highest point. That's not something that the Islanders do, though. They just don't. Like I said, for me, Holmstrom is invisible on the first line. All he does is Barzal has set him up a couple of times, he just misses the net. He's just not good enough. Sorry, not good enough. And this really concerns me because I thought that Horvat and Barzal did have chemistry. Man, did I want to see them with a top flight left wing. I mean, that line could really do something. It's still 2 guys on that line. I think you're seeing the Bo Horvat that we saw in Vancouver last year, early in the year. I have high things for that line, but they're going to be with a little bit of a damper on it if Simon Holmstrom is your regular left wing. Matter of fact, if anybody who's currently on the Islanders roster is the guy who plays on that opening night left wing, it dampers the enthusiasm just a little bit. But I'd much rather have a guy like Fashing who could play either side, or even I don't want to say Gauthier, but somebody with speed. I want somebody with speed on that first line. It's not conducive to Matt Barzal's skills.
Putting Simon Holmstrom on the first line, you know what it is? I think to myself, as much as things change, things stay the same. It's exactly what I think of when I see this. I'm like, as soon as you think, okay, gotcha, we finally get rid of a guy who's more of a passenger on the line who looks for. We don't need another pass first guy on the first line. We've got a pass first guy. His name is Matt Barzal.
The best pass first guy, one of the top pass first guys in the league.
Yep. We do not need multiple pass first guys. Does it help to have playmakers? Sure, it does. I would not, by any stretch of the imagination, declare Simon Holmstrom as a playmaker.
No.
He's just not. No. I think he's a guy who he does a lot of little things right. But your top line, you're not looking for guys who, okay, you do some of the little things right. You're looking for, hey, how can you go ahead and generate the most offense production possible? So teams have to game plan around this fantastic line. That's what you're looking for out of a top line. How do we make it to where a team is terrified of our top line and where they think, oh gosh, if we don't have last change, we need to make sure that as soon as we get the possibility, we're able to roll up a defensive line and we're able to make sure that we got the right lineups out there, the right defensive pairings to try to stop the deadly duo of Barzal, Horvat, and whoever his partner is. That's what you want. You don't want a passenger in a sidecar on that line.
Look at Edmonton. Edmonton plays Draisaitl and McDavid together. It's like, okay, when that line is on the ice, they're liable to score 2-3 goals a game just because they're on the ice together. Doesn't even matter who's on the other wing. If it's Hyman or whoever, if it was Kane, it didn't matter who it was. Those two guys on the same line, they're tough to stop.
Yeah.
Are they the greatest defensively? Nope. But their net positive is they're going to score every single night.
Yeah.
That's where you look at it. I'm not saying that Matt Barzal and Bo Horvat are McDavid and Draisaitl, but you see what I'm trying to say. That's why
the mentality you take.
Yes. That's why it was, for me, it was imperative that we went out and got ourselves a top flight left wing this offseason, or even last offseason when we could have had Johnny Gaudreau. Could you imagine Gaudreau on that line? Holy shit. That's one of the top. I know I keep going back. That'd be one of the top lines in hockey, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that would make the Islanders, I'm not saying Stanley Cup contenders, but absolutely a playoff team. Because you would expect a line like that to score every single night.
We were too busy handing away cap space to bottom line or bottom defensive pairings and bottom six forwards. That's what we were too busy doing. So we don't have cap space to do stuff like that, Grump.
Well, it is what it is, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like Walstrom's not given a shot.
Yes.
And we're not at camp. We're not watching the practices. We're not watching anything. But when you watch Oliver Walstrom, does he jump out at you and say, man, that kid's a difference maker on the first line? No. He's a sidecar. He's the new Josh Bailey.
You mean Simon Holmstrom? You said Oliver Walstrom.
I'm sorry. Yes, Simon Holmstrom. He's a sidecar. He's the new Josh Bailey. That's just the way I look at it. Whereas, he just lagging behind the play, kind of, I don't know. It's just like he's like the last guy in the pile. You know what I mean?
And I think he does some things well. I really do. I'm not trying to shit on his day. I'm just saying that is not.
At this point in time, he's a jag. At this point in time, I realize he's 21.
When we're looking at guys who can you showcase your abilities with the most. This was the time, right? Because Martin's been playing Grumpy. Here's Matt Martin on the list, like I mentioned earlier. You started off the game 2 of the 3 periods, or a little more than 2 of the 3 periods. Holmstrom was playing with Horvat and Barzal. You had Dmytro Timashov, Kuhlman, who is again an AHLer, and Oliver Walstrom. And Coleman had played some time in the NHL, played like 40 games in the NHL. But in reality, he's not starting for us. He's going to be an AHLer for our team. He's a depth piece. He's a healthy scratch. He's a guy who's going to be in the A. So you put 2 AHL guys on the line with Oliver Walstrom. What are you expecting him to showcase? Now, again, I think it's going to Oliver Walstrom, quite obviously, is not going to be handed anything. I can't tell you. The way this looks, I just hope he's going to have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that he's contributing more than Simon Holmstrom.
I agree. I don't know how Holmstrom managed to get on the first line. Even his most ardent admirers have to admit he is not a first line player at this stage in his career. He's not.
I'd agree.
He doesn't score. He doesn't generate any offense. He's just the third guy. I guess he's like a donut. Like, you get, if you get yourself 4 tires, one of them's flat, you put a donut on one to get you to the gas station for that. He's the donut.
Here's the only bad thing is, though, we've been riding on a donut for our first line for the last 4 years. And for those who ride on a donut, you know that it's not meant for long-term use.
True.
Oh God.
True.
So that was the problem I've had. Is the only problem I've really had with the lineup so far is Oliver Walstrom seems to be an afterthought.
Yeah. I mean, Gauthier's played okay. I mean, if Gauthier's on your third line, okay, what's the difference? The one guy, Fasching has to play. Fasching has to play. Hudson Fasching has showed he deserves to be in the NHL. Absolutely. I mean, I'd rather have him on the first line than Casper, for certain. I'd much rather play him on the first line.
You know what this proves? Do you remember when we were saying last year, wow, they're just not utilizing Walstrom right? They're putting him out there. He's got some first line minutes, but a guy who so clearly, obviously has the best shot on the team plays 0 power play minutes.
Yep.
Maybe his confidence is a little further down, and they're not playing him anytime on the power play. Wow, that can't be good for him. It can't bode well that you've got a guy who you've spent such a high draft selection on, who has offensive acumen, that you're not giving any power play minutes to. Gets hurt, and now what? Oh, gotcha. We left a little bit of a sour taste in our mouth because we weren't utilizing him right last year, and now he's in a spot to where he's fighting for an NHL life. Think about that. It's just like, yikes. Things started off well with him on the third line last year. He's going to be a guy who's a healthy scratch out of camp. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. That guy's going to be a healthy scratch out of camp.
Unless, Lane just wants to see if Holmstrom can hold a job on the first line if need be. I don't know. But I don't like the fact that Holmstrom seems like the go-to first line left wing. Guess what? Your team's not good enough if that's the case.
I agree. They're not good enough if that's the case. Holmstrom is not a first line option.
It's funny because Butch brought up, how, the Islanders, the Rangers, and the Devils all made the playoffs last year. Can we see that happening again? And Joe Micheletti's like, there's been a lot of change in the division. So, I don't know. It's going to be tight. Certainly it's going to come to it's going to be tough. I don't think there's going to be a lot of separation. So what Butch wanted him to say was, oh, yeah, I can see all 3 of these teams making it. Now, you think Joe Micheletti thinks that the Devils aren't going to make it? No. You think he thinks that the Rangers aren't going to make it? No. He doesn't think the Islanders are going to make it.
Yes.
But he was cool. I like Joe Micheletti. He's all right. I mean, sometimes he does Islander broadcasts. Seems like a straight shooter. And he's like, so he kind of like, Buffalo's really good too. They were right on the cusp. Ottawa's right on the cusp. I mean,
the real issue I've got, right, I'll kind of bring it back central. Doesn't it feel like maybe Oliver Wahlstrom's been hard done by? He's a guy who showed flashes. He's a guy who's had pedigree in early draft selection. He's a guy who started off last year in the third line playing really good hockey. They moved him to the first line, and then they took all of his power play minutes away, which is where he does most of his damage, is on the power play. Believe it or not, there are certain guys in the NHL who almost the majority of their production all comes from the power play. I don't look down on those type of guys and say, oh, you only score 50 points because you're on the power play. You only put up points because you're on the power play. Well, no, that's where they excel. Just like I don't look down on somebody who says, oh, wow, this guy does a lot of 5-on-5. Well, hey, he doesn't do anything on the power play. Why is he so miserable on the power play? If you produce in one area or the other, You need to make sure that you're getting that platform to produce. Oliver Walstrom is a guy who puts up power play points. No power play time. Gets injured, is back healthy now, and they say, well, hey, buddy, sayonara. You're in the outhouse, my friend. You're in the doghouse. I'm sorry, my friend. You're the odd man out. It's just an odd one. It's just like, if this is the case, which it looks like, or again, it's only preseason, but it looks a lot like tonight. This is close to our opening day lineup, guys. Wouldn't you agree this looks a lot like what our opening night lineup can be?
Yeah. Just to answer your question, if I think Oliver Wahlstrom's done bad, all I want to say is I think in his limited amount of time in the league, he's certainly shown more than Simon Holmstrom has.
Yes, I agree.
That's what I want to say. He's only a year older than Simon Holmstrom.
Yep.
I mean, so for me, it's like, what has Simon Holmstrom shown so far? Nothing, in my opinion, absolutely nothing. Walstrom has shown he can score if on the power play in particular. And, they used to say that about Mike Hoffman. Well, Grant, he doesn't score a whole lot 5-on-5. Yeah, but you know what? He scored on the power play all the time. What's the one thing that's really lacking on this team last year?
Power play. Isn't that crazy?
And we don't want to give a guy whose strength is playing on the power play. It's just, I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's just like a mismanagement of players again. It's the thing. That's the thing that always bothers me up there. I mean, close to as much as not taking adequate direction for the Islanders is mismanaging our players, mismanaging our assets. That's the thing that just bugs me to no end. We just a guy like Oliver Walstrom. If you're not going to play him, trade him before the season starts. Trade him now. He's on a 1-year contract, a 2-year contract. He's signed. He's a restricted free 1-year contract. Trade his ass. Trade his ass right now. Don't let him sit on your bench and then say, oh, hey, buddy, if somebody gets injured, we're going to go ahead and give you the chance to fight for a spot now. Trade him. Don't send him down to Bridgeport. Trade him. Well, he can't send him down to Bridgeport. I'm sorry. He's got the 1-year contract signed on a one-way deal. Don't put him as a healthy scratch. Move him.
I agree. I've always felt that he was going to be moved this year anyway. I considered him an afterthought in the organization, and I think that's the way they treat him. He's just been passed over. What does it say when you don't get moved up the ranks? Passed over. That's right, Randy. Look at me, son. When you're talking to me, I'm looking, Frank. I'm looking.
To answer your question, what does Simon Holmstrom do to deserve a lot of the preseason time on the first line? Well, he's registered 9 points in 50 games. So that's really impressive. I mean, that's, again, what we're looking for on the first line, guys who put up points on the board. That, hey, on a 20-point pace, or not even, on like a 16 or 15-point pace for the season. That's pretty good.
In his defense, he didn't play a whole lot on the first line when he had those 9 points. But the whole thing is, even in Bridgeport, he played a lot of minutes on the top line in Bridgeport. He's not even a point to get 12 goals. 12 goals.
Yeah. That's not a guy where I'm like.
Last year in Bridgeport, 5 points in 16 games.
People forget. And again,
he sucks. I saw him live and he blows. Let me just put it to you that way. He sucks.
I'm not saying Oliver Walstrom is going to be the next Gretzky or anything like that. But you see, there's been, from that 2021, 2022 year, when he started off 2022, 2023, there's improvement. 35 games played, 16 points. It's still probably not where he wants it to be, admittedly. But he's a guy who has more offensive acumen and more threat. For a guy who wasn't getting any power play time and 35 games to put up 16 points, it's not bad.
Yep.
Just confused. He looks to be the odd man out. For him, I just hope he doesn't get discouraged. I will say, a criticism I have of him, Grump, is that he looks a lot like a mental midget. When things go fucking bad, they go bad, and the world starts to collapse around him. That's what I think of him. I think he's a mental midget. Some guys are like that. When you're young, you can be a mental midget, and I'll give you a pass. When you start to get older, you can't be a mental midget. You're a professional.
He's 23.
You should be starting to kind of change from mental midget to I'm a professional.
You realize power forwards take a much longer time to develop.
I'm talking about maturity wise. when things
Okay.
don't go
I
your
don't
way, some guys immediately shut it off, and it's like, oh man, shit. Oh, they start dragging ass a little bit. Oh, they start dragging their stick a little bit. They start missing the opportunities they should put in. He shouldn't be a guy like that. I think he is a guy like that still,
he's
though.
23. He's 23. I'm
Okay.
like, he's 23.
How old is he, Crump?
23. I mean, he's young. He's still young. He's never been given really, I mean, I guess he had a full-time role 2 years ago, but he was playing on the third line, which doesn't suit his skill set, right? Under Barry Trotz. Last year, played 40 some games, whatever it was, got hurt, out for the rest of the year. He's 23 years old. I just, I you just see something with the, you just see something. And maybe he can't handle the mental aspect of the game. I don't know. But all I'm saying is our power play is lacking. That is absolutely his strength, and we're not giving him a shot. Would you rather have Oliver Walstrom out there with his non-scoring warts, or Simon or Oliver Walstrom?
You said
Simon
Oliver
Holmstrom.
Walstrom both.
Right. I'm sorry. Casper or Oliver? Would you rather have Casper out there playing the disappearing ghost routine that he does all the time? Or would you rather have Oliver Walstrom out there, somebody who can generate something on the power play? I don't know.
I'd rather have Oliver Walstrom. Simon Holmstrom, you know what he is. He's a guy who I think best case scenario, he's a best case scenario middle six guy. That's not a guy you can afford to put on your top line. I'm sorry.
Well, Islanders think different.
So,
I don't think Walstrom's going to play for us. I
think he's done. And I don't think I'm acting right. We talk about, I said this, I had that weird gut feeling going into the season. And hey, they say something about gut feeling. Sometimes you're usually right on those. It just is very odd that tonight looks like pretty identical to what we'll see for a starting lineup, minus a player or two. And Oliver Walstrom is the odd guy out, right? Kyle Palmieri's not even healthy playing. And Kyle Palmieri enters the mix. That's going to muddle things up too. If they like Julien Gauthier, we like what we've seen from him. Well, he's going to get a starting spot, right? If they like what they've seen from him, and he has looked good. He's a guy who's a high energy guy. He's a good bottom six guy.
Yeah,
he is.
We're filled with bottom six guys. They're all replaceable. We could have 1,000. We could have 1,000 injuries to the bottom six guys that would not affect us in the least.
We should be able to continue without skipping a beat.
Right. It's the top end guys are the ones you have to worry about. There's less of them. There's less of them in the world. The world is filled with bottom six guys. Top six guys, those are the elite ones, right? We have a few. We have a couple. Anders Lee now is a bottom six guy. That's where he's been for years, in my opinion. Bottom six player. That's not a slam against him. He's average. Those are the average players. Thank you, Islanders, for finally realizing what I've been telling you for years. Average Anders Lee. That's where he belongs.
I think Anders Lee on the third line, he doesn't play defense to what I'd like him to do, but I think he's a better fit for the third line than he is the first.
If we could, I would feel better if we could get ourselves a solid, let's say Kyle McLean shows he can play. How's this? Kyle McLean shows that he can absolutely play that fourth line center role. You slide Casey up to playing third line center, and you take J.G. Pajot, put him on the first line left wing.
I'd be fine with that.
I would love that. I think
Jean-Gabriel Pajot is a better fit than Walstrom or Simon Holmstrom for that first line. The way his playing style is, he's a guy with an active motor. He has constant movement, and he's a guy who I think really gels well with Matt Barzal.
And if you're worried about, well, gosh, defense from the first line, well, you know what? Pajot's really good defensively, and Horvat's no slouch defensively. Matt Barzal's not the greatest defensive guy, but he hustles back. It's not like it's not like he's hanging around at the center ice line looking for a pass. That's not what he does.
That is another positive I mentioned. It looks like Anders Lee has finally been acknowledged that he's a third line guy. Now, what I want to see from Anders Lee, right? If you're the effing captain, and he's going to still be wearing the C, I need to see full dedication and devotion to the 12 minutes you're on the ice a night. I need to see you back checking your ass off. I need to see you, now that we're cutting your minutes, I assume, by about 4 or 5 minutes a night, I need to see full commitment to a 200-foot game. The same way that all those other guys are cutting their freaking teeth trying to make it in the NHL, You're back in that spot. I need to see a full 200-foot game every night from you, man.
I like what I've seen from him on the third line.
Yes, I did. I have two. It's early. It's preseason, but I have.
Yep. I like it. And again, it is preseason.
Yes.
We played some, I mean, all right, the Rangers don't have their first unit. Their defense corps, I don't even know if they've just picked up guys from the street, maybe at the bus terminal on the ride over from Madison Square Garden to UBS Arena, if they just pick some guys up off the street. We'll play hockey for food. Who the hell knows? But they were terrible.
This is the lineup tonight that they rolled out there. Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere, Coyle, Mika Zibanejad, Othman, Vesey.
Othman scored today.
Vesey, Brodzinski, Pitlick, Enstrom, Goudreau, Rempe, Robertson, Trouba, Lindgren, Schneider, Harper, and Holloway with Jonathan Quick in net.
How many of those guys are starters? 3, 4, 5, 6,
I think it's easy just to mention the names that are not in the lineup.
Well, how about the ones that are? Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere, they're not going to be on the same line together. Zibanejad is going to be a starter. Othman's going to get sent down, even though he scored again tonight. Vesey and Pitlick, I think those are third or fourth line guys for them. And Goudreau. So
yeah, they're missing. Go ahead,
Kreider.
Yes, they're missing Blake Wheeler, right? They're missing Philip Hedl, right? They're missing some bigger name guys. On defense, right? You're missing both Adam Fox and Keandre Miller. Those are some bigger name players.
Somebody else. I don't know. I don't know who the starters are. But, I mean, I've heard of Trouba and Lindgren. Those are the only two.
They're missing. I just mentioned as well. They're missing Gustafson on the defensive side of the puck.
Gustafson, okay.
Yeah. So they're missing some starters. Now, again, I'm not over here crucifying them at the stake or anything. We had, just like I said, when we lost to them, I think they had more of their high-end starters in than we did. Tonight, we had more high-end starters in than they did. And I think our lineup was probably like 80 or 90% of what we'll see opening night. So.
And the goals that we scored on them, their defense looked like they were looking in the crowd or something. They were not engaged.
No.
Like the Brock Nelson goal, it's like, what are you doing? They just stood there and let them cut through in between. Where, you get your regular defenseman, and it doesn't happen. I mean, but that being said, I think the Islanders played really well today.
Yes, I think so too.
They came out ready to play today. I mean, I like that. What I didn't see from the Rangers today, what I saw the first game, is that aggressive forecheck. I didn't see that today from them.
I will agree. I liked what I saw from the Islanders. I like the effort. I like the hustle. Those things are good. It's only preseason. We're going to keep a very close eye monitoring what lineups look like. That's for certain. I feel like that's going to be the big talking point going forward. Who gets time? Who's the odd man out? And I hope it's not Oliver Walstrom, but it sure as hell looks like that could be the case.
And we get the Devils Monday night. Yes.
So absolutely. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's jump into our ad read here for tonight. And we'll go ahead and jump in here. Today's podcast is brought to you by DraftKings. We're back with another week of football, and DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw down $5 on any of this week's epic matchups to walk away an instant winner. Then DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of the two new offers every game day this September. Football is more fun to watch when you're in on the action. So download the app now and sign up using the promo code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 instantly back in bonus bets. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with promo code THPN. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available. if you have a gambling problem at 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of the Boot Hill Casino and Resort, I'm a licensee partner of Golden Nugget Lake Charles. You must be 21 years or older, and age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance, and eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
I like HOPENY.
You like HOPENY, huh, Grump? What, Grump?
Am I allowed to wet my whistle? Is that okay with you?
Oh, I don't have you
You're
pulled
gonna
up.
criticize me.
I don't have you pulled up on my screen. I didn't hear you, Grump.
And then the
Jeez.
next thing you'll say is, "Get a drink, my friend."
No fucking drinking for you, Grumpy. No drinking for you, mother effer. I don't have you pulled up. And I was like, Grump? Yes. But I was trying to pull up here some of the Islander goals is what I wanted to showcase, just so we could go ahead and see some of the Islander goals that were scored today. Same way we kind of had done last time. Now this is the hit that we're talking about that had caused.
Lafreniere scored. Our boy Lafreniere and Offman scored today. Offman.
Okay.
Two young guys scored.
Hey, Lafreniere blows. Don't forget it. Here's the hit, right? It wasn't a dirty and malicious hit that we were talking about earlier. Here it is. It's a clean open ice hit.
Absolutely. That's as clean as it gets. He knocked him on his ass because he's up 70 pounds more than him. And the guy, he dropped his head.
Welcome to the NHL, kid.
That's honestly.
It's not a vicious hit at all.
It's because the other kid's built like a freaking gnat that he got just getting run over. I mean,
it's just a clean hit.
Anders Lee he barely tapped him.
He really could have freaking run.
He could have really railroaded him. He could have freight trained him, and he did not. Here's the thing. You're never going to hear me say that Anders Lee is a cheap, dirty player. He's not. Absolutely not. I mean, that kid was skating with his head down, crossing the trolley tracks, and he just got really – he was leaning. Ba-boom, baby food. Down he goes, and there's a fight.
Now, I think this is the clip of Butchie, but let's listen to it.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a preview of how Barzal and Horvat are going to play. The Islanders' season is all of a sudden moved way up because this is the expectations that everybody.
Who's 81? That's like, look at their defensemen. They're terrible.
They're both healthy. And this first period, boy, it's been impressive.
Whoops.
This first period, they've been really impressed. Oh, man, that was part of it.
That's not even a play. That's where two defensemen, one guy just reached and poked. He walked right by him, and the other guy just stood there as opposed to going to the post on the other side. It's like, yikes. Look at them. They're in position to defend this.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's Panarin. Panarin's number 10. Okay. Yeah. Well, okay, Panarin's not a defenseman, but here's the thing. Whoops, let him go. The other kid, I don't know what the hell he was even chasing.
Yes, it was a good job identifying that. Hey, Quick is slower and older. Let's try for the wraparound here when we've got a defenseman who's stuck in no man's land, number 81, who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. The same guy. That's the same guy who got upended by Anders Lee. The same Nat who got absolutely destroyed by Anders. Safe to say he's not making the opening night roster, right?
Can you show Brock Nelson's goal?
Yeah. I'm going to show them all. That's right, Grumpy.
Okay, because I think it's interesting.
Okay, I'm just trying to get them up.
I just, like I said, I don't know who the Rangers had out there today defensively, but it's not their top guys. That's all I know. That's not to minimize. We played well today. We played well today. But you know what? We'd look good playing against a high school team as well. So.
Oh my God.
I mean, Rangers are down 4-2. I don't understand why coaches feel they want to pull their goalie in exhibition.
I think, okay, I've told you, I tried to explain this to you before. I'm going to explain it to you on the air too, why I think they do that. I think they look at it and they say, I would like to get some practice and I'd like to get some game situations playing with a 6-on-5. So when we have to do that in the regular season, we are having some experience instead of just running practice against our own players. Let's see what it's like facing some other looks. That's why they do that, Grumpy. It's a practice scenario. It's preseason, man.
With their backups. One thing I'm going to say about the Islanders, in this situation, do you want to know who you're not seeing out here, who we usually have seen in the past?
Anders Lee, right?
Anders Lee.
And he shouldn't be.
Guess who's playing out there? Hudson Fasching, Croc. We know Croc's out there.
Fine with that.
Is that Holmstrom out there?
Ugh.
Please tell me it's not. No, Engvall was out there. Okay.
I'm fine with that. Those are all three guys that can stay.
They're all defensively responsible.
It's just the second line. They just have the second line out there. That's what that is, the second line.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let's watch. Here's the goal by Brock. Is Varlamov still in net?
I don't know.
Okay, well, when you see it, let me know.
Yeah,
okay.
Varlamov. He's in midseason form.
Okay, let's watch here.
They're moving the puck quicker, and coaches or GMs will always say, you can't skate as fast as you can pass the puck.
Look at that. What the hell is that pass? Who made that pass? It was terrible. You're passing back towards your net. Blind pass. Look at this.
Number 10. That's Panarin.
That's Panarin again. He had a shitty game.
He had fucking awful across the board. Yikes. Panarin had. I didn't know that was Panarin who made that ill-advised pass as well. My God. Ugh.
Yikes.
That was a nice feed by 20. Who's 20?
That's Hudson Fasching.
Hudson Fasching with a fantastic feed.
That kid needs honestly.
Look at that. Look at the feed by Hudson. This is like again, like when people are like, I don't know who's going to play the third. Hudson Fasching. There's no universe in where he should not play.
He should never come out of the lineup.
Kyle Palmieri this, Kyle Palmieri that. Right?
Earn your spot.
Like we're not missing a freaking beat, my guy. He's not missing a freaking beat.
Earn your spot, you 33 point a year, $5 million per guy. Earn your spot back because he's not as good as Hudson Fasching. Sorry.
And again, Hudson Fasching over here, hustling back, right spot, intercepts the pass. Whoop. A little behind the legs, perfect touch on it to get to Brock Nelson.
And then who's
Brock
that?
Cuts between two defensemen.
Is that the same? It's the same little piece of shit.
Holloway. He is fucking awful. 81.
It's like he just lets him. He looked like Hickey back there.
It's time for him to hang up the skates. Whoever that kid is, professional hockey's not in your future, my friend. It's time to stop playing.
He got run over and let guys walk around him like he was. Look at that. Like he's a turnstile. I mean, hey, Brock does a nice job cutting back to the center. Nice job, but there was no pressure from the defense. None at all. 81. Yikes.
Is it the guy? Is it Holloway who's out there? Who the hell is 81 for the Rangers? I'm interested now. Mac Holloway. I'll pull up here. Yeah, but that's a kid. Yeah, he's number 81, I believe, for them. Yikes. Yeah, he's number 81 for them. He was miserable.
They did wind up putting Captain Average out there for an empty net goal.
That's good.
Average is in mid-season form, scoring empty net goals.
I'm fine with him being average on the third line, but I'm not fine with what he's getting paid. That's a different topic of discussion. But again, a great play by Hudson Fasching, right? It looks like, wow, that second line, that's a buzzsaw. They're so great. Well, isn't it crazy? You can just go ahead and replace Kyle Palmieri, and we still see that, hey, the guys at the motors are still making things happen, albeit against shitty defense, but still. Hudson Fasching looks like he slides in without an issue.
I almost think it would be great, like if the Islanders had a player on their team who was really shitty, but he had to play for the other team every game. And I wish it was 81 could play defense against us every single night. Because he's
wouldn't that be great? It would cause one fight every single night when he's getting upended by average Anders. He'd go ahead and have multiple turnovers, kind of standing in no man's land. He'd go ahead and freaking get walked past by Brock Nelson. But you notice a lot of the goals that we were scoring were against certain players. Certain players were on the ice consistently for the Rangers. So you know, I don't take too much credence into the result, but I liked what I saw, and I liked what I saw from certain players. That's really the big takeaway. I liked the energy I saw. I liked how kind of we were gelling. I liked the defensive combinations. A+ regarding our forward groups. It would be I for incomplete, or it would be N or needs improvement. NI needs improvement, because Simon Holmstrom can't be on the first line. You've got now Oliver Walstrom, or he's completely boxed out. It's just not a good situation.
True.
So we were supposed to have Sun X star in some comments, but He's not here with us again. Taking a siesta, taking the evening off per typical Sun X.
There will also be no show next Saturday.
There's no show next Saturday, Grump?
No show next Saturday.
Why?
Because Sun X is having an engagement party to fiance Y. So that's next Saturday. So I will not be able to partake in the festivities. And if TJ was left to his own devices, well, no one would listen. So we're just going to cancel next Saturday's show.
We'd be talking about how the Islanders, how the Property Brothers are selling the organization.
Yes, we know how that turned out. The one time I let the little mice go out there and play, we saw how that turned out. Not so good.
Absolutely.
Unless you want to bring somebody else on the talk, I don't care.
Well, I'm fine taking some time off before the season starts. So when we get to the season time, we could be ready to go, juiced up and ready to go, Grumpy.
And Phil is going to be on the following Wednesday, though, correct? Before the season starts?
Yeah, the Wednesday before the season starts.
So not this Wednesday, next Wednesday.
Yes, absolutely, Grumpy. Let's go ahead and look here. Got here a few comments there. Apex Legends Senior Citizen Grump.
Nice to hear you. You back again, Apex Legends. Always a pleasure. Holmstrom on line 1 is a joke, and it's a bad joke. Not a regular joke, a bad one. Lee and Engvall suck. Lee's okay on the third line. So again, spread the suck around. Engvall is meh. He's meh. Islanders could have had Gauthier and never signed that loser Engvall. Lou sucks. Gauthier has been okay. The problem is we got a lot of guys that are just okay.
The system we play allows guys in the bottom 6 to really thrive and showcase their talents. That's the type of system we run. We're not a team where it's like, hey, bottom 6, you're playing 6 or 7 minutes a night every night. Our bottom 6 is playing 10 plus minutes. Our bottom line is playing 10 plus minutes. Hell, our freaking third line is playing 12, 13 minutes at least a night. And it's like, you look at, okay, we give our bottom 6 a lot more time than other teams do, which is also the reason why they get a chance to get into a groove. They kind of establish a little bit of momentum in their game. And that's why when shit goes really bad, it looks really bad.
And why do they play so much? Because we don't have talent on our top 6. That's why. If we were a more talented top 6, they'd be on the ice more.
It's really quickly. It's funny. I'm looking through some of the comments, and we're starting to see these from Jeff and a lot of people too, where it's like Holmstrom looks like he's been given a chance on the first line. Gauthier looks solid. Where does Walstrom fit in? A lot of people are asking the same question too, right? A lot of people are noticing this lineup tonight looks eerily familiar to what we're going to see, or eerily similar to what we're going to see on opening night.
Well, people are questioning where's Walstrom?
Yep.
Where's Wally? Where's Waldo?
Where's Wally? Yep. Nowhere to be found, which is also the reason why he was playing with Dimtro Timashov and Kuhlman, 2 AHLers Walstrom was playing with. Signed himself a 1-year contract. I guarantee you. Oh, man, things could get really bad with the situation. Just a complete, it could be a systematic failure. That's exactly what it would be. A guy who last year played better than he had the 2 years prior, despite receiving no power play time, gets injured with a season-ending injury, and they say, well, you're the odd man out.
How many points did he have last year?
More points than Simon Holmstrom and 14 less games.
Okay, but how many points did he have?
He had a total of 16 points. 16 points in 35 games, and it was a +5.
Oh, he only played 35 games, 16 points. You know what? That's
like a pace for about 40 points a season.
That's like Kyle Palmieri numbers. 33 points. Kyle Palmieri's had 33 points the last 2 years with the Islanders. $5 million a year. 33 points. Playing on the top line, on the second line.
Playing power play minutes.
Power play. 33 points. So for everybody's Kyle Palmieri, he doesn't produce. That's what I mean.
Kyle Palmieri is going to be handed his spot when he comes back to say, here you go, Kyle Palmieri. Here's your second line spot back. Hudson Fashion.
Used to be a failure with the Devils.
Yep.
Used to be a failure with the Ducks.
Trust me. I see the same exact way you do, Grump.
And here's the thing. I'm not saying that Walstrom is a better player than Kyle Palmieri, but I will say he's got way more upside. And the bottom line is That's why you don't sign back guys who are 30 years old to 5-year deals or 4-year deals worth $5 million per when they don't score any points.
Because it makes guys like Oliver Walstrom, who is young still
No
and
shot.
still improving, have no spot to fit in. He's not a bottom 6 guy, and when you fill your top 6 with guys who are tweeners, you're going to be in a spot where there's not enough spots available, just like we are now. Well, hey, that allows us so much depth. So if players get injured, we're great. Another thing I want to talk about, the amount of these fans that are now like, see, guys, this is why we've got Varlamov right here. I cannot tell you how many direct messages, how many tweets, how many people all over the place on social media are like, you saw what happened to Vasilevsky, right? This is why you need Semyon Varlamov, because if our Sorokin were to go down for 2-3 months, Varlamov will be able to come in with a seamless transition and help us win games. I'm gonna let you know something.
He looked like shit in the first preseason games, and I could find any goaltender off the street who can give up 2 goals in the last 3 minutes of a regulation of a game.
Or to give up 3 goals a night. I can find any goalie to do that.
Well, he gave up 2 goals in the last 3 minutes.
I'm just say give up 3 goals today. That's not like we look at your body of work and say 3 goals against. That's a great night. Here's the thing. If Sorokin misses 2 to 3 months of action, we're not making the playoffs. Right. Varlamov is not good enough to win us games the same way Sorokin did. It's the same reason why Varlamov knowingly decided to take less money a year to sign for a backup role for the Islanders.
I don't think he took less money a year.
Really?
No one is signing a 35-year-old backup for more than $2.75 million a year. And no one's
would have been a starter other places, but they wouldn't have given him 4 years.
Where? Where is he going to be a starter?
There's a lot of shitty goalies in the NHL, man. A lot of really bad.
He's one of them. He's one of them. And he's 35.
I think he's above average.
He's not. Guess what? He's had his best time was with the Islanders in his first couple of years when Mitch Korn and Pierre Greco were working with him. Everywhere else, he's been just a ham and egger. Never been a winner. He's a 35-year-old freaking backup.
Backup? We're talking about a backup.
He's a backup. That's what he is. Backup. Not a starter, backup. Backup. A freaking backup. A backup making 2.7. A 35-year-old freaking backup goaltender who's going to pay 25 games a year, getting paid $2.75 million. Oh, I'm happy being a backup. Yeah, no shit. You know what that tells me? It tells me that, you know what? You're just riding it out. You're just coasting along at the end. That's what it is. Yeah, I'm a backup. Who cares? I like it. I'm getting paid. I like it here. I like the guys. We all go to the cul-de-sac. We all got our burgers and hot dogs. Josh is, putting the barbecue sauce on the burgers and the chicken, all that stuff. Yeah, I'm a backup. So what? You know what it means? I don't get the pressure to go out there. I got myself a whole bunch of new Islander caps I could wear by sitting at the end of the bench this year. He has no problem cashing that check. 35 years old, going to be 39 when his career is over. Think about that.
Oh, goodness.
Freaking backup. And he gives up 2 goals. The goals he gave up in game 1 were atrocious. And then today he gave up 2 goals in the last 3 minutes of the third period. That's not good enough.
We got here a few comments. Nick C says, I'm going to give the Rangers the same excuse I gave the Islanders last time they played each other, mostly playing the kids against NHLers. The same one Grumpy refused to give the Islanders last time.
Okay, but the Rangers weren't playing their starting lineup the first game. That's the difference.
I thought it was about 50-50. Maybe there's slightly more Ranger starters than there were Islander starters the first time we played. Tonight, I'd say is pretty damn close to our starting lineup. Yeah. The Rangers are missing. We both didn't have starting goalies, whatever, that's a wash. They didn't have Adam Fox and Keandre Miller playing in. Those are 2 top 4 defensemen. We had our entire starting defensive lineup in. We had our top 6. Minus maybe an injury to Kyle Palmieri, but I would say this looks like our top 6 come opening night. They weren't playing guys like Blake Wheeler. They weren't playing guys like Philip Hedl. They weren't playing a plethora of starters, so it's whatever. It's still preseason. I like the way we played tonight. That's what I like.
And what I said the other night was it was a preseason game, yes, but I looked at individual performances of certain players, and I looked at the style that the Rangers played, which they didn't really play today for the most part. Was that aggressive forecheck. They didn't do that today. It could be because the Islanders are playing their starters and the Rangers are playing their backups. And, when you got a bunch of AHLers against a full NHL team, that's the way it looks. I don't know. But they had the same type of guys. That's what I said about the first game, not this one though.
Dallas McDonald says headed to the Senators practice for Kraft Hockeyville. My wife and my daughter have their hey Josh Bailey sign ready to go for tomorrow. I might ask Josh if he can get that. I might ask Josh if we can get that draft pick back. Oh God,
Probably not.
Probably not. But cheer him on. He'll be happy to see some Islander fans over there support him. I'm sure he will.
I'm sure he's got no Ottawa Senator fans.
I'm going to say probably not this early on as well. JP says Vasilevsky's gone at least until the calendar year of 2024. Is Tampa officially getting old? Yeah, he's going to be out 10 weeks after surgery. Well, technically, he could be back towards the tail end of the year. But, it makes me wonder, Mike, is it just something that flared up during camp? Why the hell was surgery not done earlier?
They said too much. Yeah, I think that's a failure from the Tampa Bay organization. They tried to do some type of medical things, it's like some injections or whatever. It wasn't working. Backs are tricky like that. I mean, if you have a back injury and it's really not going to be, it's where it's a surgery can take care of the issue, you get that done. When you're trying to do experimental shit to have a guy, I could see you doing it at the end of the year when you're going for a playoff run. You don't want to get the surgery, but to start the season, and they've known he's had this for a while, he should have had that season. He maybe would have missed the first, 4 weeks of the regular season. Now he's going to miss 2 months.
Yeah,
that's problematic for them.
Yes, I'll say this: we expect him to make a full recovery and be back to his old self. That's a big plus. He'll come back fresh, I feel like, as well. We're going to see what does Tampa have. People are like, oh, man, Tampa's not making up. I can't tell you how many times I was talking to Phil, too. He's like, oh, man, Tampa's not even locked for the playoffs now. I'm like, yes, because on a team where they've got Hall of Famer Steven Stamkos, Hall of Famer Victor Hedman, future Hall of Famer Braden Point, future Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer Kucherov. They've got good players like Sergachev in there. They're not going to make the postseason. I'm going to say they're going to find a way to keep their head above water until Vasilevsky comes back. And when he's back, when he's been dealing with the back injury, I'm going to give you a little bit of a newsflash. He's been dealing with that for a while.
Yep.
That's not like something where it's like, oh, this just came up on me. Oop, I twinged my back. He was dealing with this, I would say, probably all of last year.
You think that's why there were games where he looked like absolute dog shit?
Yes, in the playoffs, too, he looked like complete shit. I'm like,
sometimes, and then other games, he's back on form, and then he's like give up 6 or 7 goals. That was all last year. It could have been the back issue, which makes it even more egregious that Tampa didn't get this taken care of as soon as the season ended. Let's get that back surgery right away. You'd be ready to go for training camp. That's a big mistake by the Tampa Bay organization.
Egregious mistake by them. That I think that their fans, anybody who comments on the Tampa Bay Lightning should be taking them to the freaking cleaners.
To the woodshed.
Yeah. So, yikes.
I don't know who their starting goaltender is.
And will I be old before I get a reply from TJ? I need to just read the emails. I haven't read the emails on the Islanders Never Say Die pod or the Islander Fans United. I will read those. We're also going to do some sort of fantasy hockey league. I don't know when we're going to have the draft. We're going to do it. We will. I know you guys have explicitly asked some people who listen to the show, let's do fantasy hockey. We will do one. So, yes, it's on the list. It's on the list. Nick C said, do you guys still think that Tampa makes the playoffs without Vasilevsky? No goalie depth. They've lost some guys over the years, plus Stamkos is not getting any contract talks. It might add to some frustrations. It could definitely add to frustrations for him, sure.
I think him being out is good news for the Islanders. I'll just put it to you that way.
Yes, good, better. Here's the thing. I think it's better for teams in the Atlantic than it is for necessarily the Islanders.
That's not necessarily good news for us. The last thing you want is teams like Buffalo and Ottawa thinking they can make the playoffs.
Winning games early and building up a little bit of a lead. Here's the thing. Tampa is not going to freaking fall off the cliff, though. I will say that. Tampa's not falling off the cliff, guys.
Who are their goaltenders with him out? That's my question.
It's Brian Elliott, right?
Oh, shit. Okay. You know what? You might as well trade for Varlamov.
Johannes Johansson. Johannes Johansson, I believe, is the goalie.
What the hell is Johannes Johansson?
Johannes Johansson, I believe, is the goalie.
Well, they need another goalie.
They said it's going to take 8 to 10 weeks to recover. I believe it's Johannes Johansson, though.
Yeah, they need another goalie. I'm just going to tell you that. I mean, they're going to put him on long-term injury, but right now they're above the cap right now. I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't care. Bad news for Tampa is good news for the Islanders.
Yes, anybody who's in our conference that gets bad news, that's good
news for us. Right? That's good news for us.
They talk about 10 bargain goalies Brian Elliott is a free agent. So he's still a free agent. Yaroslav Halak, Montembeault they could get. Oh my God.
I mean, come on.
It's slim pickings out there. Martin Jones from the Maple Leafs.
Okay, let's just say this.
Alex Lyon from the Florida Panthers.
It's quite a step down, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think that's fair to say. Quite a step back.
Yeah, you look at the names, my God, Louis Domingue, God almighty. Yeah, they're definitely going to have a lesser tier goalie in.
Here's a prediction. I don't think you're going to see a Tampa Bay goalie selected in the fantasy draft.
I'm going to say you're probably correct, Grumpy.
Certainly not early. You might take a flyer on him. Well, I don't want to give trade secrets away because, how am I going to win otherwise?
Yeah, so this guy, Johannes Johansson, he's going to be the backup. He's
going to be the starter.
Oh, he's the backup. He's going to be the starter out of camp.
They've been giving up 3-4 goals a game every preseason game too.
Has he really?
Yeah. I don't know who it's. Somebody has been. You want to know who's looked really good in preseason?
Who's that?
The Carolina freaking Hurricanes.
No, the Hurricanes blow, Grumpy.
Yeah, I disagree.
This guy, Johannes Johansson, let me put it like this, at least regarding, they're going to have to sign somebody. You look at his body of work, it's not necessarily.
Okay, if you add all of his games in his whole career up together,
35 total career games. Yeah.
Whoa.
Last year for Colorado, he appeared in 2 games, or he started 2 games. He had a .932 save percentage, baby. Things are going well for them.
Did they miss unless they're just writing the season off?
Maybe no, I think they're not going to write the season off. Please stop.
I don't think they can with their guys.
With the way their team is structured, they cannot afford to write seasons off.
I'm just like, yikes. That's not good.
They're going to sign a backup. Or they're going to sign another goalie who's going to be back. Expect them to target a unrestricted free agent, a vet that's going to be playing more than this kid is.
Can't be Brian Elliott.
I can see them going with Alex Lyon.
Okay, but he sucks too. He was good, for a week to get them into the playoffs?
He played 15 games last year with a .912 save percentage and a .289 goals against average. And that defense for Florida was fucking miserable.
He was good.
Alex Lyon should be the answer for them. Okay. I don't even think it should be a question. Alex Lyon is who they should go after.
They'd have to trade for him.
No, I think he's an unrestricted free agent.
Oh, well, if he's on UFA, they should absolutely go for him.
Let me see. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not speaking out of my ass.
Probably are.
I probably am. Hold on.
That's a TJ special right there. I don't know how the hell you talk through your shorts because I know you don't wear pants.
Where is he? No, I think he's free agent. I'm not seeing he's signed anywhere.
Team, the Red Wings.
Where do you see that?
Right at the top.
Oh, shit. Their team. Okay, he's with the Red Wings. Hey, baby, give CVY a call. See what you can get going. I think he's on a cheap contract too.
Yikes! I just
they need somebody.
They absolutely need somebody. I don't know how much he gets paid, but it's probably. Let me see. I can actually look that up because I don't have
it, Grumpy. It's Alex Lyon. I'll tell you how much he's getting paid. He's getting paid, I think, Batman.
Isn't he the backup there?
He's on a 2-year, $1.8 million contract. 2 years, $900K a year.
Okay,
that's not terrible.
Yeah, he's not even one of their. He's not even shows that he's one of the top 2 guys are Reimer and Ville Husso. So maybe
those are waiver candidates. So they think those guys are going to be waived, perhaps.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay.
So you've got some waiver candidates, and that's probably when guys get waived. That's probably the route they're going to go. Yeah,
okay. I'm cool with that.
Taking Matt Tompkins or doing Hugo and Follette, probably not the answers.
Michael Hutchinson, another guy out there, 33 years old. What about the guy who played for Carolina, the old Zamboni driver? Can they bring him out?
Only when they play the Toronto Maple Leafs.
He can clean the damn ice after making some saves.
Oh man, yes.
They need a goaltender. They desperately need a goaltender. I
So
can see
does that bode well for us that this is happening? Absolutely, it
if it
does.
weakens a contender, absolutely it does. And it's
Yep.
not like okay, it's weakening the Hurricanes or the Devils who are gonna put up 100+ points. Tampa Bay's on the way down. Absolutely, they're on the way down.
I will say this: they're not as bad as they were last year, right?
Who, Tampa?
Correct. The playoffs last year, they had a woeful underperformance. They were coming off of back-to-back years, back-to-back 3 years in a row, making at least the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, no, 3 straight years where they went to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 years when we went to the Stanley Cup Finals in a row.
And if they weren't banged up, they would have beat Colorado. There's got to be a goalie out there for them, but still, that's a big loss. That's a big loss for them. To them, it's like us losing Sorokin. Yes, they have more talented scorers. They certainly do. But he's like Sorokin. He's like the top goalie in the league. In a big game, who do you want out there? You want Vasilevsky out there.
I agree. You want Vasi out there. Absolutely.
How many shutouts did he have in like clinching games in a row?
It was a record. That's all I know.
I mean, you take a guy like that off your team, you're not getting better.
I would agree. So that's a big loss for them. Benefits us, obviously. I'm not willing to count them out just quite yet. Some are. I'll be interested to see what they do regarding when goalies start to get waived. They're going to pluck somebody up. I just have that feeling. So, and all they're trying to do is get to where he gets healthy.
Would it surprise me if they don't make the playoffs now? It would not.
I'd be shocked if they don't make the playoffs, dude. Okay. Shocked.
You're gonna miss Vasilevsky for what? 20 games?
8 weeks. 8 to 10 weeks.
Okay. So 25 games, maybe 30 games. You play 3 a week, right? I mean, that's a lot of games. It's a lot of games.
Yeah.
And if your goalie is like
Let's say you're even splitting average. If they split average when he comes back, I guarantee they're going to be more than an average pace at that point. They're not missing the playoffs. Tampa is not missing the playoffs. Let me go out there boldly into the comments and say Tampa is not missing the postseason. I say it with a strong degree of confidence as well. And everybody over here who's doubting Tampa, just wait.
I'm just saying losing a goalie of that caliber,
it does affect you.
Is a huge loss.
It is. They're going to find Tampa, as much as they mismanage that situation, will win the waiver wire pickup they get. They will win whoever's going to play the backup. They will be at over a 500 point or points available that they could get throughout the time period with Vasi out. Book it down now.
Okay. You heard it from TJ. We're going to book it.
You right. Two Pop says, Lou Cirillo sucks. Play DeFore, play Walstrom, skill and size. Well, DeFore, I think, got sent down there to Bridgeport.
I also wanted to mention Isaiah George, who we pointed out here was miserable in the first exhibition game, was sent down.
Yeah, he's going to have to play in Bridgeport.
Right. But, I mean, you heard the Gadflies, the Phils of the world, the Stefan Rosners.
No, Stefan didn't say that he was going to make it.
He looked good. Lane Lambert. Phil was pumping those tires.
Yeah,
how great he was. I'm like, let's pump the brakes. And he didn't even make it to final cut. First cut. Boom. See you later. And here's the thing. It's just not ready. Just not ready. And that was my point. And maybe he could come and take that bottom pairing spot. That was Phil said that. I'm like,
he was gaslighting. He was just being trolling. He was just trolling.
But I like to call him out on that. I like to make him look foolish.
JP says, if they're not playing Walstrom, we have a complete system failure here. Yes, absolutely.
Yep. USB, we have a problem.
Nick C says here, it seems like Jean-Gabriel Pageau and Anders Lee work well. They work. I hope they're aligned this year. I think they absolutely will be aligned this year.
I would rather acquire another rock solid third line center, move Pageau to the first line. I think that would make the overall team better. But if that's not going to be the case, Pajot works with everybody. Let's be honest. He works with everybody.
He's a good third liner who has a lot of flexibility. He's very malleable as a player.
He's a
Very
Swiss
flexible.
Army knife. Swiss Army knife.
I think so. Absolutely. Now, again, he's a guy where the big thing I worry about is if they ask him to play that style, the trot style for an 82-game stretch, can he do that? That's the thing I always worry about with a guy. Like, he's a smaller build, a smaller frame. And last year he went through times where he was just completely just looked like beat on the ice. He just looked not the same Jean-Gabriel Pageau we're familiar with. And I hope, we could see a longer time period of him playing at a top level. That's what I hope. Yeah.
Same here. I'm just kind of digesting what happens if Tampa struggles out the gate, but then they're high flying and we're dying at the end because we're playing the trot system, and we're worn down. Do they catch us at the wire?
Man, wouldn't that be awful?
Wouldn't
God
be good.
almighty. Could you imagine us trading? Again, like I thought we had a failure last year. The Penguins had a much bigger failure. When you add all those pieces and you trade away and you don't even make the postseason, holy shit, it's bad. We all knew they had no chance of winning a cup, just like we knew we had no chance of winning a cup, but still they did it anyway. Oh, Drew says here, who would win in a foot race? Stephen Hawkins, Anders Lee, or Najee Harris?
I'm going with Najee Harris.
Stephen Hawkins is dead, so it's going to be tough for him.
I think Stephen Hawking is he's not even a competitor really at this point in time.
Unless they shot his ashes, if he had ashes out of a cannon.
Unless they loaded his casket into a cannon and shot it across the parking lot, it's not happening for him.
Anders Lee, yeah, I'm not sure he's going to beat Najee Harris on a foot race, but it'd be close. It would be close
between Anders Lee and Stephen Hawking at this point.
Grumpy, distinguished author Greg Prado. Greg Prado, grumpy old man. Now, really quickly, let's read the comment. Now, there was also a book idea that you were trying to pitch, Greg, last time on the show. I want you to remind him if he's in the comments there today, Grumpy, but I'll let you read the comment first.
I forgot the idea.
I forgot the idea too. I was hoping you were going to remember something about.
Here's the thing. Long story short, when Greg releases the book with my idea, he can see me in court because I'll remember when he pulls it up. I'll remember that.
Oh God,
gentlemen. I noticed that the recently updated Islanders Never Say Die logo has been replaced by the earlier logo during the show's countdown. Why is that, TJ?
I just have not. Okay, so the video clip I have not updated and gone into the software editing system and updated it. I don't know if I still have that clip, and I'll have to recreate it perhaps. But Greg's lovely wife created and updated the logo and fixed it for us.
Will it make a triumphant comeback one day? Grumpy loved it. I did love it. Now, here's the thing. I got a question for everybody on the show.
Oh, my God.
It's going to be quick. You can go star some more comments when I do this.
I am. Trust me. That's what I'm doing.
Has anyone been watching commercials on television where they have women and men working out on some type of exercise machine? All the women are fat, wearing, super tight spandex. And it's like, what percentage of fat girls are actually using exercise equipment in their homes?
Hold on. What field are we throwing this out of, Grump? I thought you were going to talk about hold on. And
I'm like, what are they trying to, I don't understand it.
They're trying to make it seem like it's in every person's thing. It doesn't matter if you're in shape. I'm going to let you know something, Grumpy. The majority of Americans are obese.
That's true, but
they're trying to appeal to the majority of Americans.
But you know what they don't do? They don't wear little spandex tights with their bellies all hanging out and shit.
That's where you're wrong, Grumpy. You don't ever leave your house. But yes, that's how most people dress now. That is correct. That's the style these days.
Most guys don't, but most girls wear those little, what do they call them? The little jogger? What do they call them? What do they call them? What kind of pants are they? The super tight.
Now they wear biker shorts is what they all wear. They used to wear yoga pants.
Pants. That's it. The yoga pants.
They don't do that anymore, Grumpy. They all wear the biker shorts now where they don't go down to their shins. In the summertime, they wear things that are like biker shorts. Like you ever see like in the Tour de France where they bike down, Grumpy, you see how they've got it's usually like a one piece thing that goes from the top. They just wear the shorts that are there, and they wear them and they go down to like the mid thigh. Like they're like kind of like just like They're
That
like
explains
yoga
all the
pants, but only go
cellulite.
down to their kneecap.
That explains all the cellulite I see left in the streets corners. Just like the shit. Just
Who would ever figure on an Islanders podcast, Grumpy would be talking about women's fashion?
I
Get it
saw
all here, I
a
guess.
commercial. I'm like, why are all these girls fat? Is that what you want to aspire to be?
That's just like Grumpy. They make that because that's how most people look, just like you, Grumpy. If they're advertising for shirts, we're both obese. We're both big, Grumpy. So they advertise for big people,
Okay.
Grump.
If they put us on a commercial, is
They
that what you
sell
wanna
out,
look like?
Grumpy. They would
Work out
sell
on this
Islander
no,
jerseys.
no. Work out on this machine, and you can look like this.
Yeah,
That doesn't work. You know what? People will say, you know what? I could sit home on my couch and look just like that. That's what they say. The same thing with these girls. I'm like, is that what you're aspiring to be? Is fat? Because I could just give you a bag of freaking chips and you could do just as much damage that way.
Okay. Alrighty, Grumpy. This is what happens when we let Grumpy introduce a fucking question. I thought he was going to talk about, don't you want to see the logo on our t-shirts? No, the guy completely takes it out of left field.
I mean,
the motherfucker completely takes it and derails what we're doing and completely brings us in a different area. Grumpy, we're trying to keep podcast at a more reasonable time, and you start introducing an hour and 30 minutes into the show. What do you think about women's fashion in today's society? Are you kidding me, Grump? This is what you're introducing this late in the show. I'm going to lose my brain. I'm going to lose my mind, Grumpy.
No, you were supposed to just star comments. And I wasn't talking about women in society. I was talking about women on these exercise machine commercials.
All righty. We're done.
You should
stop. We're done. We're done, Grump.
But now that being said, I've been asking for that logo to be on a t-shirt for 2 years. 2 years.
With a comment like that, you know what I do to discipline you, Grumpy? When you introduce comments like that on our show, I now delay it another 2 months. Anytime you make a crazy off-the-cuff comment that puts Grumpy, that puts you in the no-no zone, it goes 2 months delayed, Grumpy. So I'm sorry. It's been delayed another 2 months, Grumpy, with that most recent comment. You were just coming up where it was going to be completed, but you have another 2 month delay.
Just in time for Christmas, that's supposed to be out. Should be.
Hopefully, you don't make any more off the cuff comments, Grumpy, that delays it any further, because you don't have the self control to control yourself the way you need to.
Why are all these people wearing big orange T-shirts on the Sportsnet hockey thing?
Why are you watching TV instead of focusing on our podcast so we can finish in a reasonable time?
I'm trying to give you time to star comments.
I'm already going to Grumpy. We have comments to read through, Grump. Okay,
let's go.
Let's focus, please.
Grumpy, I think you need to set TJ's watch 30 minutes ahead, probably an hour.
We were waiting on trying to get.
Oh yeah, it's somebody else's fault. It's always the tyrant's never wrong. It's always. Let me tell you something. He's absolutely the guy who blames everyone else for his failures. Very good at it.
We were waiting on a login code from the hockey podcast. Now, long story short, we waited 15 minutes, didn't come. So we're going to have to do that another time. So that's why I wound up running late.
What did I say before the show? Why don't you just skip it tonight just so we can get on the show? Nope. The tyrant says no.
Yes, that's correct here. Mr. B, Grumpy.
Mr. B.
Mr. B. Here you go, Mr. B, Grump.
Grump, I kind of miss Mr. B with the kids. Grump, it would be fewer Bailey haters if he was a mid-second round pick. I think if he was playing on the third line where he belonged, he wouldn't have any haters. It's the fact that he was invisible on the first and second lines. And the fact that he got paid, I don't think where your pick matters. I think it's how much money you get paid and how you don't produce.
I think that I think if the fan base wasn't so blind about how some sections of the fan base, he's elite, that shit just sends people over the edge. It's like, I don't think people dislike Tim Tebow. I think they dislike the freaking Tebow lovers where it's like, he's a great quarterback. He was never a good quarterback.
You thought he was a good quarterback.
I was running with the meme, Grumpy.
You thought he was great. I'm like, he sucks.
I'll tell you, the one thing about Bailey, too.
You're fired.
The one thing about Bailey is he was given first line time and power play minutes every single opportunity. Anytime something were to go wrong, we always just said, Bailey will fix the problem. And he never was the answer. I think that's what made people hate him. But let's get some more comments here. B40 says, I bet Billy Smith at signing today. He was a class act.
Yeah, good. I mean, happy for you. Very good.
D-Cut Grumpy comes in with a few trolls. He says, Dobson has actually regressed. He's been awful. And he says, Walstrom is where he belongs. The press box.
Oh, D-Cut.
D-Cut never change. Drew L. Grumpy.
Grumpy's man, Kyle McLean, had a really nice assist tonight. He's good. Here's the thing. You didn't need to sign Casey back to a 6-year extension because there's a Kyle McLean on every street corner. And that's not a slam against Kyle McLean. He's absolutely a guy who could play on your fourth line center role. That's why you don't sign 30-year-old fourth line centers to 6-year contract extensions. Just don't do it. It's unnecessary.
Goon Grumpy.
Was Goring caught with his trousers down regarding his comment about retribution for hard hits? Abso-freaking-lutely. David Sean McDonald. Wow.
Yeah.
David Sean McDonald says, I mean, here's the thing, TJ. I don't mind you putting up the comments, but
I
you
was-
gotta leave them up for more than a split second. I gotta look at the words. I know you read the comment.
Motherfucker, I accidentally
Hold on,
put the comment
hold
up when I was trying to start. You bastard. It was a mistake on my side, you mother effer.
Hold on.
Let's keep going.
Hold on. I know you read comments like there's no words on the screen, but I actually look at the words when I read it.
Okay. All right. Here you
Next comment. Come on.
go. Here you go, buddy. You read it real quick. Okay.
I don't understand why you sit a kid that has the ability to score and is hungry to prove himself. It's one of the mysteries of life.
Good question there, David Sean McDonald here. Goon. We already put that up here. AJ Piazza, Grumpy Piazza.
Shit. Hey, guys, I haven't commented in a while. We're glad you're back. And I have a lot to say. Great. They finally put Pelican with Dobson. It's about time. 100% agree. Holmstrom is better than Lee on the first line because he can skate. I'll give that to you. Ross is gone.
Yes.
I mean, I like Ross Johnston. I just like him. I'm not
He's going
saying
to be waived.
I hope not, but I like Ross Johnston. I never understood why they signed him to 8 years worth of contracts. He's played about 50 games. Makes no sense.
We know we feel confident that he's going to be waived. Let me put you like that. And we're just going to say that. Drew L. Grumpy.
With TJ constantly muting the Islanders broadcast, it's safe to say Butch went from Butch Goring to Butch Boring.
I like that. I like that one, Drew. Goon Grumpy.
Whose season will turn out tighter? The Jets or the Islanders? I don't know what he means by tight. The Islanders will be better than the Jets. I'll just tell you that much.
Okay, here we go there. Frank, what's up? How are you, Frank? Drew L. Grumpy old man.
Grumpy explaining how Butch Goring is already in midseason form and it's only game 3 of preseason, the preseason X.
Goon Grump.
Grumpy, I attended a concert by the rock and roll band Yes the other night. Wow, on Long Island. Did you say yes to Yes? Yeah, I didn't know they were still around. I mean, is it all the same members? You know, a lot of groups now, they go out and they might have one of the original members and then a whole bunch of new guys who are just as good as the old guys, just playing a cover band. Because, Cheap Trick was horrible when I saw them last. They'd all the originals.
I saw that with you, Grumpy.
Rock and roll is a young man's game. That's all I'm going to say.
You know what? Music's dead.
Oh, TJ's a freaking loser. That much I can't tell you. TJ's an absolute freaking loser.
I was showing Grumpy that cool song by Sexy Red afterwards, and he loved that.
I'm like, what the hell is this?
I said degeneracy at its finest. Is the best way to put it. Shitty music.
It's not even music. James Costa says Pulak and Romanov look great. Loving Lee on the third line. Bolduc looks a bit lost. The Gauthier guy looks sharp. Hudson Fashing looks improved. Also, Holmstrom seems a step better and smarter. I agree with most of that, except for Holmstrom. He's not a fit. He's not good enough. I'd much rather put somebody else better on that first line. But I don't disagree with anything else he said. And I don't think Bolduc's looked that bad, honestly.
Now he didn't have a great night tonight, but it's again, like he's a young guy. He's going to have some games where he looks good, some games where he looks poor. That's just how he is. But he's a guy who has more ups, and that's what you're looking for. You want to give the guy who has a chance to improve more throughout the season the time now and early in the season. So if you do make the playoffs, they have more production and they're more value than a guy who has already hit his ceiling in Sebastian Aho. And I don't dislike Sebastian Aho. He's just a number 7 defenseman. That's all. AJ Piazza there, Grump.
I wouldn't mind seeing Gauthier being a regular. I don't know where he would go because we keep the old guys in. It's only preseason, but things I've noticed, and I still think Wally should be on the first line. He should at least be given a legitimate shot. I mean, you're rolling out Holmstrom. What's he done on the first line? Nothing, honestly. Nothing. That's Matt Barzal all the way with some Bo Horvat thrown in. He's just a sidecar. Unfortunately, that's what he is. But Gauthier, I mean, just think about it. Gauthier wasn't even good enough to make it on Ottawa last year.
We do have a
Let him
comment
go.
there from Swamp Box.
Swamp Box 29. I don't know how you get a nickname like Swamp Box 29. I don't know, but I like it. Will Walstrom be in the starting lineup come opening day? Nope.
Every time I see one of those comments and I just see Beaky the Buzzard, I just get because that motherfucker is Beaky the Buzzard 110%. Lou Lamoriello is Beaky. And once he said that, I'm like, I cannot unsee it. He is Beaky the Buzzard.
He is Beaky the Buzzard.
LTIR for Palmieri, says Jack T. I don't know he'll be out that long.
That would be great.
Oh, God. Dallas McDonald there, Grumpy.
My wife and I traveled down to Brooklyn years ago, went to the Barclays Center Starbucks, ran into Butch there, and he sat and chatted for 45 minutes. My wife now has his jersey too. Butch is a great guy. Really nice.
Yeah, we
really
met him.
Nice man.
We've met him, and so was Brendan Burke. Very nice. Both of them, very nice people.
When he was the head coach of the Islanders years and years and years and years ago, and we went to see Carolina Hurricanes Islanders game, he talked with us for like, there were no Islander fans there but us. Let's be honest. And we talked, I want to say at least 15, 20 minutes, and as the head coach, talking to a bunch of ham and eggers and these stupid children.
These really awesome kids that were going to be great. They're going to start an Islanders podcast one day. Frank Grumpy.
Tell her I don't allow that shit. TJ is a confused millennial. He cries. He's a homer. Well, TJ's brain damaged. Can't comprehend Butchie was a great Islander and loved the team 1,000,000% more than that loser Lou.
Oh, God.
They're coming at you.
I don't dislike Butch Goring. I'm ready to be done listening to him. I'm ready for Thomas Hickey or whoever else they want to take over for Butch.
I like Butch.
I can't listen. It's really tough with how much of a homer he is. I'd rather have somebody who's somewhat neutral. Be Islander favor, but Islander light.
The only problem I had with Butch is I said to myself, I don't even know if I mentioned it, TJ, when he was bringing up the hit thing and he went a little overboard. Micheletti agreed with him, but Butch had to push it further. Game misconduct, maybe he didn't say suspension, but he was just this close to suspension. I knew the MSG guys were going to bring one up where that happened to the Islanders. I knew they were. And it wasn't 10 minutes later, wham, they brought it up and they ambushed Butch, and he didn't really have a defense for it.
You don't. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at Josh Bailey. Where is Josh Bailey with a little smirky face? He's gone. David Sean McDonald here, Grump.
Finally, says David Sean McDonald. Finally, Pelican Dobson. What's the deal with Wally, though? I don't know. I'd love to see, hey, how about you throwing Wally out there on the first line for a couple of games? Let's just see what you have. You're trying to tell me with Barzal's creativity and that kid just moving to good parts of the ice, he's not going to get shots? Come on.
Yeah. Got here a comment there from Goon Goon. Grumpy says, if Lee thrives on the third line, will there be a tingle and Grumpy spine?
No, that's where he belongs. He makes too much money for a third liner, but that's where he belongs.
You got a tingle in your spine. You're happy, Grumpy. Woohoo, aren't you, Grump? Come on. Freedom, fun, and adventure, Grumpy.
Good evening, team. Tonight's roster is pretty good. Obviously, Fasching won't be on the second line. Why not?
To start the year, if Palmieri's injured, absolutely he'll be the guy on the second line.
I think and hope Johnston will sub in for Martin more this year to keep Martin healthy. I agree with that too.
We know that Ross Johnston will not be on the team. I think he's going to be waived. We're just saying that.
I like Ross Johnston.
I like Ross Johnston too, but he will not be.
You can just speak for yourself. I'm advocating for the addition.
I am advocating for the addition of Ross Johnston. I just know that he's worried about being waived.
I like him.
I'd be worried about being waived too.
I love when people rip Ross Johnston for making $1.1 million a year, but they don't rip the other pieces of shit who make 5 times the money he makes.
I was having an argument with Phil. I think Ross Johnston is a better offensive forward than Matt Martin. He's like, oh, no, not even close. Matt Martin's so much better than he is. I'm like, Ross Johnston, I think the thing that plagues Ross Johnston is that pretty much every time he's on the ice, he feels like he has to fight. And that's not, you don't need to feel that way. But like, it feels like, go ahead.
I think the issue is that the referees around the league are looking to call a penalty on him.
That too. As soon as he hits somebody up, we know what type of player this is. And it's like, it's unjust, but it's the way they call the game. And if they're going to call it against them that way, you can't have that on the ice. I understand it.
Guys like Ross Johnston are now an anachronism in the league. Fun.
Whoa, SAT word, anachronism, Grumpy. I like that.
That's right.
Anachronism.
That's right.
Can you use it in a sentence, please?
I just did.
Ross Johnson is an anachronism around the league. Oh, God.
Players like Ross Johnston.
Oh, man.
Go ahead. Next comment, please.
We have a meme here from Drew. We're going to post up there quick. Grumpy,
Come on. Get it going. Stop watching the TV. Get it going.
If you weren't, I don't have a TV. If you weren't talking about freaking women's clothing, Grumpy, we would be much further ahead of schedule right now. So I don't want to hear any of your shit, Grumpy, today.
Okay, here's the meme. So Ranger announcers.
Why did you ambush Bush Goring's
game misconduct agenda?
Why? Because fuck them. That's why.
Fuck him. That's why, Grumpy. I always like that one. That meme.
That's the first one. I'm like, oh yeah, I knew it was coming.
It's just some friendly.
They don't like Islanders. They don't. Okay, the Islanders might be on MSG Network. They might, but they're like the little. They're not even the Devils. I think are second place, and then the Islanders are last. And I think they like dumping on the Islanders. They just do. Agungu says, if Holmstrom plays good, will TJ feel misunderstood? Okay, you don't need to worry about even answering that question.
Frank Grumpy said, I saw an article about how Holmstrom is an underrated or some bullshit. The agenda continues by Lou.
Who the fuck wrote that article?
He's a middle six guy. He's probably
a bottom six guy. He's not a middle six guy.
I think in the best case scenario, he's middle six. I think he's a third liner. He just like Anders Lee is better on the third line than he is on the first line.
You know where he's better? In another organization. That's where he's better.
Ponyboy Curtis, Grumpy.
Wow. Blast from the past, old Ponyboy Curtis. Boys, I miss you. Frick! I've been working so much. I find that hard to believe.
No, he's been working
hard for me to catch his live. My work schedule's a bit F2, noon to 10:30 p.m. How am I going to catch the Suck Squad live?
Well, you get to avoid watching the Suck Squad.
Well, the good thing is if you DVR the game and you find out that they got obliterated, you don't have to worry about watching it.
Is that what you do, Grumpy?
No, I watch the games live. Actually, I DVR the games, and I like to fast forward through commercials so I can wait a little bit.
Got a comment here from John A. saying a bunch of Iggy Pops
on this team.
I don't know what an Iggy Pop is, so I figure you probably did.
Look up Iggy Pop.
Motherfucker, do we have time to look up Iggy Pop? What's Iggy Pop? Tell me as I'm looking this up, okay?
Look it up. Pull the picture.
He's an old-looking guy. Jesus Christ.
Iggy Pop.
Who is Iggy Pop? I assume he's an artist, a singer.
Yeah. That's right, a singer.
This is how the majority of the Islanders are looking right here in this picture on the left, Grumpy. Iggy Pop, he's looking kind of old.
Looking kind of old.
He once was young, but now he's old.
I think he was also in the movie Crybaby.
My God, from the 1960s he was singing. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. It's in the Wayback Machine.
Okay, the Wayback Machine is right there, Grump. Let's continue along here, though. Jeremy Ford Hamlin.
Ford, first time in a long time, Jeremy. Always a pleasure. He's always got the best comments. I love Jeremy Ford's comments. It grounds us back in reality. I like it. The ideal situation would be if Bolduc makes significant strides this year and become a top 4 pairing next year, and Pellet could be moved out for someone like Ehlers. That's why I like Jeremy on this show. He always poses well thought out questions that actually make some sense. I can't see the moving Pellet though. I don't think he has appeal because of how long his contract is and how much money.
Oh man.
DJ must have read a comment.
No, I'm just getting stuff put up here. D-Cut says Walstrom and Bellows will be first liners next season in the Swedish B League. Oh, isn't that great?
I just want to say Kiefer Bellows scored for the Carolina Hurricanes. Isn't it a shock?
Kiefer Bellows is having a pretty decent preseason for the Hurricanes. Wouldn't that be something? AJ Piazza, Grump.
I personally think Palmieri should go over Wally. Yeah, why not? Walstrom makes like $900,000. Palmieri, the F- makes $5 million. You still have to cut some salary before the season starts, you know.
Gungun said, I hate to say it, but I think Laxative Lou is a better general manager than that jerk with the Jets. Is this a major breakthrough on my part?
You're wrong. You're wrong. At least Joe Douglas brings new players onto the team. Does Lou do that?
Goon Grumpy.
Time for a food-related question. I'll be attending a wedding dinner tomorrow. What is a wise selection for my main course? Should I go with a salmon, bratwurst, or Vegemite sandwich? Wow, if those are your choices, go to McDonald's before you show up.
Bratwurst aren't bad. Dude, bratwurst and some I would not eat a Vegemite sandwich. I'd be puking that bitch.
I want to know what the hell type of wedding you're going to when those are your choices.
He's going to a wedding down under, Grumpy.
How do you know?
It's because of the Vegemite sandwich, right? The song.
Going to a land down under.
That's what he said. He's going to a wedding down under, Grump.
I know. I wanted you to hear you sing the song.
I didn't, but you should be impressed, Grumpy, with that I knew the song. Huh? You got D-Cut.
D-Cut says there's a reason every coach who has ever had Wally since he was in midget hockey hates him. He sucks. Here's the thing. I'm calling D-Cut out for this comment because I don't think he knows any of the midget coaches for Oliver Walstrom. Have you taken a poll? Have you called them all up?
Yes, he has, Grumpy.
Okay. Rob G says, I'm sorry, but I like the way Holmstrom's been playing. I think he's going to do good for the team. Okay. I just think he's just like he's a guy on the ice. He's Josh Bailey 2.0. That's what he is.
Oh, man. Nick C, Grumpy.
I think you guys are thinking a little too hard into Holmstrom playing on the first line. Very rarely do teams play complete lines in the preseason. Usually they do groups of 2 for lines. Well, I hope you're right, Nick. But you know what? Since really we've had nothing to talk about for months on this show, we have to create content. And if it means that we're going to rip on Oliver Walstrom, which is easy to do, since he's been playing on first line, we're going to do it. But thank you for the insight.
Yes, absolutely there. Frank, Grumpy.
TJ, don't quit your day job. You don't trade Wally. He had a serious surgery. No way he could be 100%. Those knee injuries take, what, 3-4 years if you're a hockey player? I don't think so.
I'll say you this. I don't think they should trade him. They will, though. Chris Snow, former assistant general manager for the Flames, died of ALS or died at 42 years old.
Wow. He had ALS?
I saw he was a big for awareness on ALS. I'm not sure. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. I'm not sure.
Maybe that's why they
ALS in June of 2019.
Oh, maybe. Oh, okay. Maybe that's why they're wearing the orange shirts. I don't know.
Could be. Could be.
Maybe like to eat oranges. I don't know.
No. Wow.
Decut says Aho will play over Bolduc. Sam has been bad tonight, but
he's gonna have 2 games and bad games. He's young.
Who's got more upside, right? That's what you have to say. Alexander says if Holmstrom takes the next step and puts up respectable numbers, he's a scrappy player. His defense, he sucks. He sucks. He's like the Tua Tagovailoa of the New York Islanders. Sucks. He would be riding the coattails of better players.
I think this Islanders team is better than what you guys think. Okay.
We think that they're a borderline playoff team.
Borderline playoff team. If things go our way, we make the playoffs. If they don't, we don't.
Right. Nick C says, I think you will see Gauthier playing more often than you think. I don't know. I think he has a shot to play a lot. They will use him on the 4th line for Clutterbuck and Martin to break up the season for them, same as most of the old wingers. Or why would you put him on the 4th line when he's shown he can play on the 3rd line? Right? I mean, if he shows that he can skate and produce on the 3rd line, you put him out there with, average on one wing, Gauthier on the other, and Pajot in the middle.
Gunkin says, Grumpy, who is more of a shrewd businessman, Hyman Roth or David Lee Roth?
Is that even a question? It was always Hyman Roth. He always made money for his friends. Freedom Fun Adventure says, I agree Wally needs to be paired with top-end talent for the remainder of the preseason. Grumpy, if podcasts could make trades, what type of return could you get for TJ? Does SunX have any trade value at all? SunX has no trade value at this point in time. We get a lot for TJ because he does a lot of the nuts and bolts, and he does have a really good voice. He does. It's like he's got like $1 million voice, but a 10-cent brain. Like the athletes, he's got $1 million body and a 10-cent brain. TJ's like the Oliver Walstrom of this podcast. He just doesn't grasp things, such as reading comments.
Oh, God. There it is. There it is, Grumpy. We've got here Rob G. Grump.
In all defense, we love TJ. We could not do the show without him. Could not. Here's the thing. We would not do the show without TJ. Rob G says the Islanders are setting up to have a nasty defense this year. I think they look – I like their top two defense pairings now. And you got Mayfield, who's going to get, penalty kill and limited ice time for him. Again, another 7-year deal, which was dumb. But still. And if Bolduc can develop, watch out. Then we're good for, years, right? Years. Or the same for years.
And David Deshaun McDonald there, Grumpy.
I wonder if Wally tweaks something or has swelling. I can't believe the staff isn't playing him because personally, Lane or Lou doesn't like him. He's a kid, and I doubt he has attitude issues. We've heard some things about him. We have, but I don't think that should preclude him from getting a shot.
Yeah, exactly. I think that he's a guy that you could get frustrated with easy based off what we've heard behind closed doors. But
what concerns me about this organization, though, is when you get on their bad side, there is no redemption possibility for you, which I think it's just short-sighted. I just think it's dumb. They're boys. Some of these guys they're boys.
We got here a comment there from Freedom Fun Adventure says, look, they have to split players in preseason games. So Walstrom will be in the opening night roster.
I hope you're right.
I'm not sure. Looking at who he's played with prior, unless like next game he's out there with the first line. I'm not sure. He continues to play with guys who are not going to make the roster. And, we put together a pretty close to complete opening night roster tonight for a lineup, and he was in absentia. Goon says, am I once again doing the right thing by muting the Islanders broadcast and letting the Islanders Never Say Die podcast guide me through the evening?
You don't even have to ask that question. It's always a yes. When in doubt, do that.
Clip Senpai, Grump.
Ooh, this is new. What's happening, guys? Good game for the Islanders tonight. Honestly, Mayfield, as usual, is the worst-looking Islander on the ice, and Bolduc. A lot of unhappiness with Samuel Bolduc. I thought he was okay.
I didn't watch the game close enough to tell exactly. Freedom Fun Adventure, Grump.
Grumpy, please tell the story about when TJ was at the gym and got bullied by the ladies in the Zumba class and run out of the gym.
I don't know. I guess this has never happened, but I guess
I remember one time we were at the gym. When I first started taking TJ to the gym, I remember he just didn't want to listen because he's freaking TJ, knows better than everybody. I've been lifting weights for years. TJ never done it, but he knew what worked and what didn't. And eventually, he followed my instructions. And there was old ladies there. She was not in, but she, some old ladies went to the gym. And about a year after that, she's like, oh, I see you started getting some improvement. About time you listened to your father. I was like, yeah. And TJ was like, boop, 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 boop.
I see. I don't remember this at all. Here's the problem. I'm having to take Grumpy's word for it for something I do not have any recollection of. And
Ask the warden.
Anytime you listen to Grumpy, it's halfway right, halfway wrong. So that's all I'm going to say.
You always argue with him. You should just listen to him from the beginning. He knows what he's talking about.
Oh, my God.
You suck. You suck.
Yeah, that's it.
Boy Curtis says, honestly, the Mayfield signing may be the worst one of the offseason. No, Varlamov is the worst one of the offseason because he's not going to play because he's a freaking backup. At least Mayfield's going to be playing out there every day. Varlamov is going to be sitting there opening the freaking door for guys to come in and out. He could be a porter at the Waldorf Astoria.
Now, Mayfield he's a guy who plays not great in the regular season. He's a postseason player because you get away with more clutching and grabbing and holding and physicality, and the game is much more segmented in the postseason.
Something's going on with this orange stuff. I see people with like orange ribbons. So it's something important. We're going to need to find out about this orange ribbon thing. The orange.
Okay. Drew L. Grumpy.
I bet I'm getting DMs from the Lamanites later about them saying shit like, see, it was only preseason and Louis trust. Give me a break. It is preseason. Yeah. It is preseason. As bad as we looked the opening night was as good as we look today.
Clip Senpai says it is
freaking horrendous signing. He was an expensive traffic cone out there.
Oh, God. D-Cut says quick, not quick anymore. Will retire after an awful season as a backup, in my opinion. I
He's
don't
a
know.
backup.
He's a
He's a backup.
backup. I
Their
don't know what-
backups, their backups sign 1-year deals, 800,000. Our backups, 50 years old, signs 4-year contract extension, making $9 million a year. That's what it's like.
Freedom Fund adventure, Grumpy.
Empire, oh Lord. You just set TJ off since TJ is intimidated by Lee's build and goes into these envious tirades.
I'm not intimidated by Lee's build.
Oh, watch out. I'm TJ. All I know is Ronda Rousey would kick your ass.
Sure she would. Sure she would. TJ loves the Rangers, says Rob G. And John says here, who's 20? And Islanders. Okay, I looked it up. Hudson Fasching was wearing number 45 last year. Okay,
No,
so
he
I don't
wasn't.
want you. Yes, he was, motherfucker. Yes, he was.
No, he was not.
Don't
No, he
worry.
was
Don't worry. I've got it right here, Grumpy. Don't you worry, Grump. Here it is. He wore 45 last
not.
year.
The season started with Bellows wearing the 20.
45. Hudson Fasching was number 45 for the Islanders last year.
20.
He was number 45.
20. 20.
45.
I remember him as 20.
I remember as 45. Who wore the
No.
sweater 45? Well, don't worry, Grumpy. We're
How
gonna
many
be able
games?
to
Does
see-
it show how many games? Oh, rifle through it. How the hell are we going to see that?
I see 45 and 20. He wore 45. I remember him as 45 last
See
year.
how many
Even if
games-
he only wore it for one fucking game, I remember it was
See how many
45.
games he wore 45?
Oh my God.
Hudson, how many games did he play 40 with 45? All you do is scroll down. It shows you how many games.
It's not. That's what I'm trying. Now I'm trying to pull this up here.
He wore 20.
I'm gonna have to go do box score. You can't, it doesn't show me what numbers he wore for what games, Grump.
Well, just agree with me. That's all.
I'm not agreeing with you. I'm defending my point. I wanted to make it seem like I'm right, Grumpy. What do you mean?
He was not 45 all year. He
He
maybe
played
started 45 for the first couple of games, and then he was 20.
Yeah, he was
He's
number
been
45. I need somebody to defend me in the comments. I don't even know if I'm right. I think he was 45 last year.
Next comment.
Okay.
By the way, Bumpy, Gaudreau scored the Rangers' second goal, not one of your young guys. Okay, that's fine.
Clip Senpai, Grump.
Mayfield on the ice for another goal against just now.
Just wow. Yeah. Polymetal.
Polymetal CX30 says, what do you guys feel over the last two seasons allowed Nelson to put up more points? Just playing first line in 21-22 and then first line a lot in 22-23? What's your take? Any opinion on that, TJ? I think it's okay. No, TJ's opinion doesn't really count anyway. Here's the thing. He will just parrot my opinion anyway, so I'll just give it to you first. I think that when he's the player who advanced the most, he and Pellick under Barry Trotz. Maybe it's the trust factor. Maybe he needed more structure to his game. But I think the more ice time he got, the more confident he felt, the better he performed. That's what I think. He's always had ability, but he's always been kind of soft. But he's always had a good shot, good wrist shot. I mean, I just think it helps.
Frank DeCosta, Grumpy.
Oh, who's that? Is that Captain Insano? First off, Barkley freaking Gaudreau. You let him score. Then I say they'll probably tie it. It's, of course, 4-3. And my a-hole buddy Ranger fan will walk into the bar as they tie it. LOL. So maybe Gaudreau scored the third goal. I don't know. I thought Lafreniere scored the second goal. Maybe I'm wrong. I was doing the podcast. I really wasn't watching. I thought I saw him high-fiving guys past the bench. Clip Senpai says, Lee is slow as shit, though he needs to skate faster.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's never going to happen. Chris K says,
I love Kyle McLean. Everybody does. Everybody who meets him, very lovable guy. Andrew L says, I think next Saturday's show should be a TJ and Phil special and see what their phone calls at 3 a.m. are really like.
Oh, God.
No, you don't want to know that.
It's not. Yeah. JP says,
when Wally's only given 11 to 12 minutes of ice time a night, it's negligence.
I agree. D-Cut, Grumpy.
TJ purposely not reading D-Cut's comments because they don't fit his feeble-minded narrative. 60-day ban and Isles Misery rated R. D-Cut is one of the founding members of Isles Misery rated R, that fantastic Facebook fan group of the New York Islanders, of which I am an honorary member. TJ is an actual member, but yet he doesn't believe what they believe. I find that very confusing.
There you, Grumpy. Find that confusing. Here you go. James F. Grumpy says, guys, 9 inches of rain in New York. I watched the videos on YouTube. It's insane. Yeah, that's why the game wound up getting postponed for those not in the area.
The Rangers probably wish they would have played last night.
Why is that?
How shitty they played today.
Oh, God. And Rob G says, how many times is it now that TJ's been wrong?
Too many to count, honestly.
0. I can't count that low. 0. The Wiki 50 cow, Grumpy.
For the first 40 or so minutes, we saw a Carolina-esque neutral zone system. Loved seeing that. Then in the third, I hated seeing the neutral trap system that we have seen for too long. Maybe they just ran out of gas. It's hard to do. You have to be a really good skater to play that Carolina system. Period. It's tough. My little brownie. Hello from Amsterdam. Hello. With the talent we have, what would you do? What would you consider a successful season?
Eastern Conference Finals, at least.
Oh, I think you got it. I mean, making the playoffs.
No. That's not a successful year. Okay. Being an average team is not success. It's not successful based off of our prior performance unless we're making the Eastern Conference Finals, at least.
You got at least
that would be a successful year. If we make the Eastern Conference Finals, I consider the year a success.
I think you have to at least win at least one playoff round.
Okay.
At least one.
TJ and Grumpy. You know what Tim Tebow and Josh Bailey have in common? All they do is win games. God.
Not anymore.
TJ.
Drew says TJ was secretly screaming ski when he was showing that sexy red track.
No, it was the other one.
I'm like, holy shit. Is this what passes for music? They just might as well I could see why it's popular, because you watch the video, it's just people having sex. I understand that's a turn on for a lot of people.
Oh, God.
I mean, those girls just doing what they do. It's like, I mean, isn't girl power like really popular now? I don't think that's girl power.
John Smith said, when Butch leaves, we'll all miss out on old Ollie Walterson gems. Yes, we will. We'll miss it. Walterson. That's right. How could I forget? Goon Grump.
Does Goring belong in the hallowed hockey hall? I mean, as a player, not as an announcer? No, I don't think so.
Drew L.
Stanley Cups, but I mean, to get into a Hall of Fame, you really need to be special. I know they let a lot of people in who aren't, but that's what it's supposed to be. Drew says, TJ and Grumpy, should I show the podcast TJ's hilarious stream fail for those that missed the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man podcast that got taken down?
I'll put that up just to fool on myself. I'll pull that up at the end. If you send it to me, I'll pull it up and I'll show it at the end. That's how we'll conclude, just like we concluded last podcast with an embarrassing fail. We'll just showcase it again.
Gungun says, out of the MLB, NFL, and NHL, I think the refs in the NHL are the best of the bunch. NFL refs are so bad that I can smell them even from here. Yeah, Major League Baseball, it's tough to screw that up for the most part, unless you're Angel Hernandez. Considering the speed of the NHL game and everybody's moving, I think that's difficult. It's constant moving all the time. NFL, yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll just leave it at that because TJ doesn't want any controversial things for me to say.
That's correct.
That's correct. Gungu says, will Phil's Facts be dropping thoughtful thought bombs on Wednesday or stinky stink bombs? It won't be this Wednesday coming up. It'll be the following Wednesday.
Absolutely.
And all of his stuff will be wrong. Ponyboy Curtis says, would you rather floss with one of Kyle Palmieri's toe hairs or check Josh Bailey's prostate? Question for you, Grump, TJ too. Maybe they both get, geez, see Ponyboy, go back to work.
Oh my God. Yikes. I'm not sure. No. Ugh. Yikes.
I'll go with option C, neither.
Gonna throw up. I would, no matter what, there'd be some puking involved on either way. No
I'm going to say that probably Josh has had more prostate exams than Kyle Palmieri has plucked toe hairs for dental floss. That's what I will admit. Say probably.
Oof. Okay. Goon Grump.
TJ gets my vote for MVP of this podcast. I would also vote for his induction into the Bathroom Break Hall of Fame.
Yes, I'll take that. I will happily run with that. Jackson T, grumpy old man.
I play for Farmingdale State College Hockey, and I dressed tonight, but didn't play one shift. So sad. We might as well just rename you Oliver Walstrom.
No, that sucks, Jackson. Hopefully, though, you can prove. Hopefully, you don't have Lou Lamoriello at the helm or a coach that won't play you if you play well in practice and perform.
Okay. This is not a slam against Farmingdale State College, but if you're dressing, you should freaking play, and the coach should be fired because he's not going anywhere coaching Farmingdale State. Everyone should get a chance to play. Sorry. Even if it's a freaking shift, you should play. I mean, I don't know what the score of the game was. I'm just going to say probably not a whole lot of NHL players, no offense, Jackson, coming out of Farmingdale State. And that's not a slam against you or Farmingdale State. I'm just saying you should have got a shift.
Exactly. You should be getting a shift. If you're dressing, you should get a shift. You should not get the Walstrom special. I would agree with you, Grump. Brett W, Grumpy.
It's not like he's playing for the freaking Stanley Cup, the coach.
That's correct. He's playing.
I guess that's
where I want college level hockey. No matter what level it is, you're playing college hockey. If you're dressing somebody in college hockey, they should play.
Yes. It's not like, hey, we're shortening the bench, to win game 3.
We're giving Johnny 27 minutes ice time tonight.
Yeah.
Really? Come on.
Brett Wayner says, Grumpy is right. He was 20 after Bellows went to Philly. Thank you.
I remembered him as 45. Goom Grump.
TJ, do you ever long for the breezy open fields and crisp autumn seasons of North Carolina? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Don't be afraid to admit it. All right.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see here. Let's see if we got any new. Parker Wally Spoon.
That's a good one
too. That's a good one. That's a good butchyism.
Yeah.
And let's see here. I retract my statement on Bo Duke, but he wasn't very noticeable. I watch almost every game, in every season for the last 5 to 8 years, and Mayfield is just not worth it. Lou is a moron for that signing and Varley signing.
True.
Yeah. Bed and Blanket says, we need Deion Sanders to coach us. Oh, God.
Did you see the guys, all the ex-NFL players, CC Sabathia, some rapper with one name? I don't know what his name was. Skank. I don't know what Scab. I don't even know what it was. Terrell Owens was there. A couple other football players. It's like, I'm just glad they lost. I'm so sick and tired of this. The Coach Prime thing drives me freaking crazy.
Coach
and
Prime.
The other thing is the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey bullshit.
Yeah. You love T-Swizzle, Grump.
I hate it. It's just like, it's such nonsense. They got a double security at MetLife Stadium tomorrow because she's coming. Who cares?
Swifty's coming? Oh, I need to fly there and go see Taylor Swift now. Taylor Swift is amazing, Grump.
I don't even understand her appeal. I mean, I guess TJ's right. After listening to that, what was the name of who sang that song? Who's that Scabby Ho?
Sexy Red.
Okay. Scabby Ho, who sang whatever the song was. I guess that's why Taylor Swift is popular, because there's no way anyone would just changing the channels on the radio and coming across that and say, hey, that's something I want to listen to. No.
Grump, how do they change the channels on the radio?
You change it. You turn the knob.
Oh, man. But I'm like, Deion's one of a kind, World Series champion and Super Bowl champion, if I'm not mistaken. Pure
he never won a World Series championship.
Oh, man. What is Sun X up to this precise moment? Who knows?
He's watching college football is what he's doing with girlfriend, with fiance. Why?
Why?
Down at her parents' house. That's what he's doing.
Fiance. Why, might you ask? Yeah, there it is, Grump. We got here another comment there. Grumpy, when you have some free time, please watch Ben Shapiro reacting to Sexy Red. It's too funny. Oh, God. That's the song, Pound Town. Angelo said, I think we should choose to close out the show with Pound Town. That was the song I showed him. Somebody was telling me about that song, and I was like, what the hell is that?
How do you, honestly, what do you think of yourself when you sing a song like, because I read the lyrics. I'm like, what's your self-esteem level?
I don't think they really
Talk
care
about getting pounded by a whole bunch of guys. I mean, I don't consider that. I don't know. I just
That's not something I'd be proud of, but some
yeah.
people are.
It's like, honey, is that what you're proud of?
Now this is, I'll remove the little banner so we could see my fail in full beauty, I guess.
Yeah, they take that banner down. Here we go. This will be.
It's
good.
embarrassing. It's cringy. Yes, we know.
It's
Yeah.
TJ.
It's
It's
me.
embarrassing. It's cringy. It's TJ.
There it is.
No, don't put your face near me again.
Hello,
Did you
we're
stop the show?
I thought I had officially stopped the stream. I did not. And it ends up with that little moment. Whatever.
You don't see me doing any stupid shit like that.
It could have been a lot worse. Let me put it like that.
I mean, I would not admit that.
No, I'm not saying that could have been a lot worse, but we could have been like, man, these fucking idiots, like okay, there's sometimes when we're dealing with crazy comments where Grump and I are like, I can't believe this fucking happened.
That's not, I never say that.
No.
I'm not tyrannical. I'm not judgmental like you are.
This motherfucker. I tell you, Grumpy is what Grumpy's always. Okay. Let's see if we got any more comments. Yeah, that's awful. I know. Yeah. Left mass off. A song about getting pounded by a bunch of guys. Oh God. My pussy make my booty hole right. Yes, that's what somebody was telling me. I'm like, what type of song is that? It's not good.
What the frick? I mean, how do you come up with those lyrics? Do you are you spread eagle in front of a mirror? Oh, look, my pussy pink and my butthole brown. I'm like, what the hell is that? How is that a song? I mean, how much thought had to go into that? Oh, what's the bridge going to be for that? You know what I'm saying? How do I bridge, the music with that? First of all, it's not even music. I don't even know what it is. And then it's like, I mean, what type of relevancy do those comments have? And then they show them doing whatever their little sex acts on the street, whatever the hell they were doing. It's like, yikes. That passes for music nowadays. Yikes. It's embarrassing.
Last comment by JP Grump.
If the Lou Lamoriello Islands had Guy Lafleur, would he get 12 minutes a night? He would have been traded because he wouldn't get the prerequisite haircut. So he would have been benched and sent down to the minors until he was traded.
Oh man. I think that song was very thought of. Oh God. Left mass of pop music made at a computer isn't music.
It's not.
Mario says, TJ, those who've had female cats just cannot understand. I don't know what that means. Maybe who haven't had cats, I don't know. Grumpy, I'm sending this from Republican friends. You're a legend and based. Oh gosh. Anyway, but guys, let's wrap up the show here today. 2 hours and 20 minutes in. Thank you so much, first off, everybody who tuned into the show. We are almost to regular season action, guys. I'm excited about it. You're excited about it. I'm getting pumped up. Hey, maybe we could start off the season well. Maybe we're going to see Ollie Walterson out there playing some hockey.
It's Walterson.
Ollie Walterson, I'm sorry, out there playing some hockey soon. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching the show. Grumpy, what do you want to say before we wrap things up?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to the show tonight. We'll be live with you guys tomorrow on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. That's going to be tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. You can find that on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, watching, having great, insightful comments, and adding to the great conversation. Thank you so much, Grumpy. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
My pleasure.